month. 22 years for a man from Brownsburg referred to as a career criminal.
Police say a man named Jason Compliment was given that sentence for having a gun unlawfully because of his prior felony convictions. He was seen selling 3 guns to a pawn shop in Indianapolis 2 years ago. And before that, his prior felony convictions include things like burglaries, resisting law enforcement, and possession of meth. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
At the Republican National Convention.
Madam Chair, I'm Jim Banks from the great state of Indiana. In Indiana, we believe in the American dream. We love America, and we love Donald J. Trump.
Congressman Jim Banks casting all of Indiana's delegates for former President Trump, who was given the GOP nomination for president. Banks will be the primetime speaker at the RNC tonight. Purdue and Auburn have finalized a 2-year series in men's college basketball. The Boilers will be playing the Tigers in Alabama next season. The year after that, Auburn will face Purdue in the Indy Classic. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Northbound 65 still stop-and-go traffic from 465 into the south split. That is a delay time of 19 minutes. Eastbound 70 still dragging from Belmont to the south split. That is 13 minutes. Crash west side, Rockville Road east of 465. That's at Wickham. And looking at the southeast side, closure of northbound 465 from I-65 to IA-70. That should be done August 5th. Traffic sponsored by Audible. Make traffic work for you with Audible. Explore new worlds or get inspired at listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms and heavy rain at times today. Muggy as well. Today's high 89. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms possible overnight, a low down to 70. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Showers to the south on radar, cloudy, and 71 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 16th. It's 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And before we start talking about Donald Trump's VP choice, let's make one thing clear. He officially won the nomination last night. Here's Jim Banks.
Madam Chair, I'm Jim Banks from the great state of Indiana. In Indiana, we believe in the American dream. We love America, and we love Donald J. Trump. As the son of a factory worker born in a trailer park, a veteran of the United States Navy, it's the honor of my life, on behalf of my great state, the Hoosier State, to cast all 58 votes for the greatest president of my lifetime and my friend, Donald Trump. Thank you.
Oh, good grief.
So Jim Banks is expected to address the party tonight, 7 o'clock. He's going to talk about his role in a new generation of conservative leadership and his fight to ensure that Republicans remain the party of the working class during his remarks.
Whoa. Okay, so let's go a couple things here. All right, so number one, he's going to say that Trump, with that complete debacle that was COVID, is a better president than Reagan. Banks is going to say that with a straight face. Well, that tells you all you need to know right there, right? Like, no matter what, look at what happened in 2020. Look at what the Republicans did in 2020. You can't blame Biden for that. You can't blame the Democrats. Republicans had the presidency and the United States Senate. And look at what they did during 2020, the damage that the Republicans did, both in this state and across this nation to this country. The printing of the money, the empowering of Fauci, essentially the bribing the states to shut down, forcing people into masking, all this crap that they pulled. And to Jim Banks, that's the greatest president of his lifetime. The guy that is better than the guy who beat the Soviets. Come on, give me a break. All right, second of all, let's cut the crap about Jim Banks being some new generation of anything. He was a state senator for years before he was in the U.S. House. He's been at this thing as an elected person for over a decade now. You're not a new generation of anything if you've been at something for more than a decade. I mean, these conventions are such hogwash. Like, I was watching that last night, and you got the porn star lady, and then you got the Teamsters guy, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What is this party? What is this supposed to be? What does any of this represent? What are you going to? I'm listening to all these things about how great Trump is and Trump this and Trump. What are you going to do for me? Because quite frankly, I got kind of screwed, as did 330 million other people, when you take the collective of the first Trump presidency. You cannot, Casey, you cannot separate COVID from the other 3 years because it's all in one soup. It's all one presidency. And in time of crisis, Donald Trump blew it, and he cost me a lot of money. He cost this country a lot of money. And I have seen nothing that shows it's going to be any different, up to including who this guy just picked to be his vice president.
Well, isn't that what the RNC is? It's a bunch of backslapping and a thankathon and just an ego fest for everybody's there, how great they all are together. If Jim Banks does win his Senate race, which he's supposed to do, he will be one of the youngest lawmakers in the Senate.
Oh, he's not 103, so we're supposed to pat him on the back, Casey.
Well, I
say
mean,
congratulations for not coming out of the retirement home.
You made a comment about next generation, so he is of a new generation, and he'll be, 6 years older than J.D. Vance, who will be, he's your age, born in 1984. And isn't that something that the boomers are going straight past Gen X and straight to the millennials?
Yeah, but my point is, you're not new. He was in the state Senate in 2010. So that means he's now been at that for what, 14 years? You're not new anything at this point if you've been at something for 14 years. Jim Banks is an establishment entrenched politician, full stop, period, end of story. I mean, like, I just was watching this thing last night, and I hearing all these people. So the Teamster, I have no idea why the porn star spoke. Like, I don't know. I know her background. I know some of the extreme leftist positions that she has held. So what? Like, am I supposed to be excited that they don't let Ron DeSantis speak, but they let this on-demand abortion advocate lady speak? Why? Because she was dating Kanye. And
I'm wondering if this is sort of the big. Now, the theme was supposed to be about make America wealthy again, and they touched on that. But when Amber Rose got up there, her big thing was she was believing the lies from the media, and she has awoken. And I felt like that was kind of also a theme of the night.
But she hasn't. I mean, look at her views. Look at her posts. Look at this. So she likes Trump. So what? How does that line up with what the Republican Party is supposed to be? I guess I missed her at the pro-life marches.
There is something that I have been seeing on social media, and it's this trend of these younger women who were saying they were wrong. They believed the media. They believed they were liberal. They started investigating more, and now they're coming over to the side of Trump. And I think that she was supposed to be the speaker for all of those people that are making that switch. She does have 23 million Instagram followers. Now, I don't know if her being there is going to bring any one of them to the party, but is this sort of the big tent approach?
I was watching this thing last night, and I think the Teamster guy, because the whole speech was basically about unions. And it's like, wait a second, I'm not in a union. What? How does this pertain to me at all? And they gave that guy a prime time speaker slot.
Yeah, first time in history.
I mean, you have the best, most conservative governor in America, who was the one guy while Trump and Braun and the rest of these people were backing down during COVID and buying into the bull crap. The most conservative, reliable governor in America is not invited to speak at the Republican convention, but this woman and the Teamsters guy is. Now, look, if you want to be in a union, great. God bless you. If that's the path for you, wonderful. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. What I'm saying is they're putting these people up who have no track record of being fighters or being there when nobody else was. All the people who should be rewarded, who have fought. Where's Rand Paul? Well, why is he not a primetime speaker?
I'm wondering if it's an approach to get all of those people that are disenfranchised from the Democrat Party, who are more moderates, independents, to switch them over to Republicans.
Thank you. Perfect. You hit the nail on the head, and I'm so glad you said it. And this is why I have no faith in this party or these people whatsoever, because it's all about winning. It's not about what you're going to do once you win. And Anne Hathaway, who was just the state Republican Party chair here, told this to people. My job is to get Republicans elected. But what if they don't align? No, my job is to get Republicans elected. And that's what this is about.
Right. They're still campaigning.
It's not about electing people who will do the right thing. It's not about showcasing people who have done the right thing. It's not about talking about Republican Party principles and putting people forward who have been reliable and consistent in terms of promoting and standing for those things. It's just simply about getting as many. It's like they're selling soap at this point, right? How many people can we get to buy the bar of soap? What if the soap sucks? Doesn't matter. We need as many people to buy this bar of soap or this body wash as we possibly can. There's nothing you heard last night about specifics on what they're going to do to fix the issues in this country, which they caused, right? They caused. Tough love time. The Republicans and Trump are just as responsible for this inflation crap that's going on in this country, about the supply chain issues that's going on in this country, as Biden is. And you heard nothing last night that is how they're going to make that any better.
Okay, so in regards to the Teamsters, they have 1.3 million members. They typically always vote Democrat. So as you mentioned, they're trying to get as many people through the door, get as many eyes on this convention, and then, I don't know, maybe over the next couple days, they'll start introducing their plan. Like, we want as many eyeballs to see us tonight. Donald Trump had his big entrance. And then they'll get down into specifics.
No, they're not going to get into any specifics, Casey. He's been running for president for 2 years now, and he has offered zero, zip, zilch, nothing. Nathan, I'd solve Ukraine in 24 hours. How are you going to do that? I'd solve Ukraine in 24 hours. I see it from so many people where it's like, well, we got to get these guys elected first. Think if Trump had the House and the Senate. He did have the House and the Senate. The first 2 years of his presidency, he had the House and the Senate. He did some things that were okay. He was pretty good on energy independence. He was pretty good on trying to create peace around the globe. We had a pretty good foreign policy. The tax policy was interesting. But in terms of the nuts and bolts of things that he promised, many of those things were not delivered on. We were running $1 trillion annual deficits under Donald Trump pre-COVID. It is amazing to me, after all the crap these people have pulled, after all the colossal failures these people have produced, after all the things they haven't followed through on, people are still like, oh my gosh, if we could just get the Republicans in the House and the Republicans in the Senate and Trump is the president, we've done that before.
Everything will change.
Why do you have any faith in these people whatsoever? And look at who they're showcasing. They will tell you what they are based on who they showcased, and they're not showcasing you.
All right. Well, the other news yesterday was that Donald Trump announced his running mate, and we're going to talk about J.D. Vance coming up from 93 WIBC.
We're just getting something coming in from the Associated Press here.
Take a look at what happened.
Law enforcement and Secret Service immediately jumping around the former president.
I heard several gunshots. The man beside me was instantly killed.
The idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of.
What happens next?
Everybody must condemn it.
Happens here.
The AP, they say the shooter is dead.
93 WIBC.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now, before this downturn, with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Deedle. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Sarah in Fountain Square had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After investing in a property in Fountain Square, I ran into some financial trouble and needed to sell the place fast. After hearing about Mark Dietel from friends, I hired him. Mark was able to sell my property within weeks for over list price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold, or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
First Financial Bank. Get 4.6% APY on money market accounts and high rates on CDs. Stop into your local First Financial Bank to start growing your money today. What are you waiting for? It's easy. Take advantage of our great rates. APY equals annual percentage yield. $25,000 minimum deposit required for money market. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC. Visit bankatfirst.com for details.
First! Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indie Decorative Concrete patio. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Well, after months of waiting, he finally made his choice. Donald Trump announced that Ohio U.S. Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate last night at the RNC caps off months of speculation. He said, after lengthy deliberation and thought and considering the tremendous talents of many others, I've decided that the person best suited to assume the position of Vice President of the United States is Senator J.D. Vance of the great state of Ohio. It is 21 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
All right, Casey, we'll start this segment with a question to you because you're the voice of reason here. Mm-hmm. Is there anything someone could say to you where you would say, we are not ever going to do business together? Like, is there something someone could say to you, call you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So
there's some heavy words.
Right. So in terms of things you could call someone, like all the names, and trust me, I've been called all the names, so I understand. I got really thick skin, so a lot of things don't bother me, and I've bridged many things if we share mutual interest with people who have said horrific things about me. I would think if I were to say, okay, the line I cannot cross by which we would not be able to do business or commerce together, calling someone or comparing them to Hitler
that'd be one of them.
Probably be. I mean, in our society level of things you could call someone or compare them to, Hitler's probably about the max worst, most awful thing you could do, right?
Yeah. And J.D. Vance has called Donald Trump that in the past.
Yes, he has. And this is, I mean, look, first of all, it just is an unimpressive pick, period, based on the fact that the guy has no reliable long-form record you can look at where you say, okay, but he's fill in the blank. He doesn't have that. He's been a senator for less than 2 years. He has appeared to be very much in line with the Trump agenda since being elected senator. However, when you look at the track record of this guy and the things that he said about Donald Trump when it benefited him. Now, this is the key, right? J.D. Vance became a fan of Donald Trump when he wanted to run for United States Senate in Ohio
When he needed him.
And needed the Trump endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the things that J.D. Vance said when it was popular to kiss that ring finger and get on bended knee, they are some really, they're not just policy disagreements. It's not, hey, I don't think he's going to be a good president. It's not, I think he's going to do this wrong or this is not good. Those things are all fine. Everybody can come together after those things. He literally compared the guy to Hitler, and yet we are supposed to believe that Trump is not making the exact same mistake he made last time, which bit him in the backside time after time after time after time, which is picking people who were not reliable Trump supporters, rather just people who were sucking up to Trump in the moment to get the thing that they wanted.
So you're thinking, again, he's just picking somebody who's going to be a cheerleader.
I think he's listening to his kids, which totally, again, what I have been looking for with Trump is what have you learned from the last time that means you will do things different this time? And I think given the disastrous response and crisis that Trump had in 2020, that's a totally fair thing. I don't think that's an unreasonable bar for me to ask Trump to eclipse, which is show me what you learned last time and how you're going to be different this time. And thus far, when you look at who he put in charge of the Republican Party, who he's picking as his vice presidential pick, it doesn't appear to me that he's learning much of anything.
All right, well, here's J.D. Vance explaining his past comments on Trump.
Yeah, look, I mean, all of us say stupid things, and I happen to say stupid things very publicly. I've been very public about the fact that I voted for the president in 2020, that I was wrong about the president back in 2015, 2016, and that he's been the greatest president of my lifetime for the very simple reason. There are many, but one very important reason is that he revealed the corruption in Washington, D.C. I mean, who would have believed 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that the FBI would actually investigate illegally, get an illegal wiretap on a sitting U.S. presidential candidate. We saw that. Trump revealed it, and he revealed it in a way that showed us the stakes of the fight, which is why I'm running for this office in the first place. One thing I'd point out is that I was just north of 30 years old when I said a lot of those things. A lot's changed in my life. I re-engaged with my faith. I got baptized 3 years ago. I've had 3 kids since then. A lot's different. And one of the things that's different is that I did change my mind about Donald Trump. He was a great president. And I think at the end of the day, one of the things this race presents is an opportunity. Who actually agrees with Trump on the core issues of trade, of immigration? Who's willing to fight for an America First foreign policy? I think that's clearly me.
He acts like he's Mr. Nezer in the Easter episode of VeggieTales where he's visited by, wakes up, I'm not going to tear the church down and build the Easter land on the church. I mean, come on, give me a break. Okay, so first of all, again, you do not go from some guy's Hitler to he's great. You might say, man, I just think this guy is going to fail. He's going to be a disaster as a president. Look, if here would be a great example of this. If Mike Braun ends up ending property taxes in the state of Indiana, if Mike Braun ends up getting crony capitalism that is rampant in this state under control, if Mike Braun does a whole bunch of things, I will come on the show and go, you know what, I was totally wrong about Mike Braun. Because I said I think I called him Tax Hike Mike because that's what he done. I don't think he's going to be a great governor right now. He hasn't given me anything to see that he's going to be that. Maybe when he comes in here for his interview, we'll feel differently. But the point is, I didn't call the guy Hitler. I didn't say horrific, awful things about him. I have left it into the guise of the things he has done. The standard is the thing that he has done as an elected person and said, here's where I disagree with these. He's acting like he's just had some minor policy disagreement with the guy. He compared him to the most horrific person to ever walk the face of this earth, Casey. That is not something I believe under any circumstance you should want to do business with.
Well, and I think it goes along with the theme of you were asking why that woman Amber Rose was giving a speech. I think it has to do with reconciliation. I said things in the past. I've changed my ways. That was kind of the theme. I mean, that speaks to J.D. Vance just saying right there, I was wrong. I changed my mind. I've learned.
And that's fine, but you can't do business with somebody who compared you to Hitler, Casey. That's where I draw the line. Period. Hey, we can work together on policy. You can cheerlead for me. You can do campaign events for me.
J.D. Vance has been very conservative on his vote. He's been against a lot of the money being spent.
Year and a half, Casey.
Well,
how often does this happen?
You always say go on the record, and if you want to go on his record, his actual voting record, he's been very fiscally conservative.
A year and a half, Casey. Again, this is like picking a judge. And how many times has this happened with the Supreme Court or whatever, where these kind of obscure, unknown judges have been picked in the past by Republicans, and then they get in there, and then they end up being the exact opposite. There's no body of work with J.D. Vance that shows he's reliably or consistently liberty-minded or conservative. What there is a track record of is him disagreeing with Donald Trump, him saying horrific things about Donald Trump, and here's why this matters most, and just give me a chance to get through this, and then we'll get to the news with Kurt. Politics and being an elected person does not give you the benefit of hindsight. You have to make decisions in the moment. The decisions you make in the moment are what affect people. What you look at in the rearview mirror and go, I was wrong, that doesn't do anything for the people, because once the policies are in place, people are screwed if you get it wrong. And the fact is that in the moment, J.D. Vance, with his big choice, got it incredibly wrong. How is it that guys like me can get it right, but then we're supposed to believe someone like J.D. Vance, who not only did he get it wrong, he got it horrifically wrong, and we're just supposed to say, well, that's okay, you'll show better judgment going forward. No, your track record is terrible judgment and being wrong, and it's another example of Donald Trump bypassing numerous amounts of people who are actually loyal to him and fighters for him, for people who said terrible things about him. And I just don't think he's learned anything from this, and I'm not at all impressed by the pick. And I guess that's just the Republican Party for me at large, Casey. Not impressed at all.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars are Thursday, July 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Indianapolis Northeast in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register now at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He has his man. Radar is clear for the most part. 71 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is Donald Trump's running mate after getting the vice presidential nomination. He was formerly critical of Trump.
I said some bad things about Donald Trump 10 years ago, but I think it's actually important to be able, again, to admit that you're wrong. And I think I can make a good case to the American people who may have been skeptical of the president back in 2016, who can be skeptical now that we've seen the results.
The Republican delegation formally nominating him yesterday on the opening day of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. He's due to address the RNC later this week. President Biden will be in Las Vegas today, where he's scheduled to speak at the NAACP National Convention and take part in an interview with BET's Ed Gordon. That after being interviewed on NBC last night. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
In the NBC exclusive interview with Lester Holt, the president was asked about possibly doing another debate before the next one already on the calendar.
Is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people.
That debate is set for September 10th. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Another big start to the day. The Dow is up 181 to 40,694. The S&P 500 is up 13.5 to 5,696. And the NASDAQ is up 56 to 20,640. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
Hey, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith.
And I'm Pastor Nathan Peternell.
And we serve at Life Church, and we got a podcast that we wanted to tell you about called Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Yeah, you know all those things that the culture doesn't want to talk about that will scare you? Yeah, that's our bread and butter. We love it.
We're going to equip you on how to defend conservative constitutional values based in God's Word in this podcast. So tune in to Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Discover Masterpiece Quilts at the International Quilters Hall of Fame celebration in Marion, Indiana, July 21st through 23rd. This amazing celebration features world-class exhibits, great workshops and lectures, and the induction of the 2024 honoree. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic. Cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars are Thursday, July 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Indianapolis Northeast in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register now at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
According to a 2023 Gallup poll, 71% of non-retired adults are worried about retirement saving. At Howard Bailey Financial, we don't believe retiring with confidence should be guesswork. In fact, our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we provide our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you won't outlive. To receive your complimentary toolkit, text CLARITY to 866-482-9559. Take a step toward a more confident retirement with Howard Bailey Financial and text CLARITY to 866-482-9559.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TS1.
Royal Spa hot tubs are simply better. Come into any of our locations and make the salesperson prove the superiority of the Royal Spa product.
Royal Spa.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So let's compare and contrast what was on your television last night. On one side, you had Donald Trump making his entrance into the RNC with the bandage on his ear, entering the arena to Lee Greenwood singing God Bless the USA, All Eyes on Him, and he looked very somber. And then on another channel, you had Joe Biden being interviewed by Lester Holt, where he was getting very testy at times and scolding Lester Holt. At one point, he said, "What's with you guys? Come on, man." He was defending his criticism of Donald Trump and at the same time calling on Americans to lower the temperature, while he was still saying within that interview that Donald Trump was a threat to America.
So that was the fascinating thing about that interview last night with Biden, is the combativeness towards Lester Holt. And it was fascinating to look at Lester Holt's response to him, because obviously, you know, they do cutaways and various camera shots. Lester Holt looked like he was about ready to strangle that old man. You could just see the look on his face going, "We have covered for you for 4 years and your delusion and your vegetable mind, and you have the audacity to sit here and judge us because we're asking you why you acted like a dementia patient on live television in front of 50 million people. I mean, it was a very, very interesting body language from Lester Holt. And this is what's interesting about Biden now, is the combativeness towards the media, because they've always covered for him. And he does not understand why the media is no longer covering for him, because so much of what the Biden presidency was all about was the media, acting like, hey, yeah, you may be seeing this guy try to shake hands with the air, but it doesn't mean anything. Joe's never been sharper than he's ever been. There's no defense of what Biden did. There's no defense of his behavior the past several years as president. There's certainly no defense about how he behaved during the debate. He's clearly losing his mind, and his only thing at this point is to lash out at the media for not talking more about Trump.
Well, and also lash out at Donald Trump, because when Lester Holt asked him about the debate, he said, "You appeared to be confused." And, of course, Biden turned it around on Trump and said, look, why don't you guys ever talk about the 1828 lies that Trump told? Oh, the media did that. They did that for you for years. And it seems now that they're not doing that. He did ask him about Biden when he said that he wanted to put Donald Trump in the bullseye. And here's his answer.
You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say
words
crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing.
Because the media hasn't been doing that?
Right. Well, this is, okay, look, Trump lies all the time. Everybody knows that. So do you, Biden. You're politicians. That's what politicians do. Almost, not quite totally, but almost universally. People know that. It's already baked in. Trump lies all the time. Yeah, we know that. But that doesn't explain why you are up there looking like the crypt keeper and why you can't complete sentences, and why you're using words together that don't go together, and why you're shaking hands with the air, and why you're talking to dead people, and why you can't walk off a stage. Like, that doesn't explain any of that. Trump lying has nothing to do with you not being able to have basic cognitive functions.
So he asked him if he's done any soul searching. And Biden, of course, lies in his answer and says, well, what are you talking about? I'm not engaged in that rhetoric.
Have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I have not engaged in that rhetoric. Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric. He talks about there'll be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all the, actually, I guess, suspend the sentences of all those who were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened in the Capitol.
So he's trying to absolve himself of any wrongdoing, and you can hear it right there. And when he says, look.
Hey, look.
Look, you know he hasn't completed his previous thought. It reminds me of younger people when they say like.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
Well, and this is, I do wonder how many people were even watching that interview last night. It sort of seems like it's almost baked in that Biden, the Democrats are almost this inevitability Biden's going to lose. Like, now Trump should absolutely not campaign like that. He should not be Hillary Clinton in 2016, because with the mass mail-in unaccountable voting stuff in places like Pennsylvania, anything can and likely will happen. But in terms of what they're going to get out of Biden, it's almost as though they're resigned to the fact that Biden is indeed now a lost cause and not worth saving. Here was the most interesting thing for me last night out of that interview, and that was that he claims to not remember talking to Barack Obama after the debate. He came out and said he did not recall talking to Barack Obama after the debate. He and Obama did talk after the debate. Everybody knows they talked after the debate. And again, we're not asking the guy to remember something from 1993. We're asking him to remember a conversation he had with the guy he was vice president under just a couple weeks ago, and he appears to have no recollection of that.
Well, he doesn't even know what position he held or what he was running for.
That's right, didn't he?
In 2020.
That's right.
Because just last week, he said that he was the first black female vice president.
That's right,
He was
yes, that's correct.
female. And then in that interview last night, he said that Barack Obama asked him to be vice president in 2020.
In 2020, when Barack asked me to be vice president, I joined him, which is a great honor. And but after that, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
I don't think he was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania either, like the way we would think of a professor at a university, right? He was not grading term papers. He was not. I mean, but this is the thing with Biden, and this is why it was hilarious to me that his big crescendo at Lester Holt was talking about how often Trump lies. The guy's lied his whole life. He had a presidential campaign. He is the John Lovitz character on Saturday Night Live. He's just short of going, yeah, that's the ticket. Because his first presidential campaign was derailed about lies. He gets caught in lies all the time. He lied about how often he rode on Amtrak. He's lied about his grandfather. I mean, he lies about everything. And this guy has the audacity to be angry that he's getting questions about his inability to form complete sentences because Trump lies too.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And there was the home run derby was held last night. And boy, we have to talk about that national anthem.
Oh, jeez.
It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the pick of J.D. Vance and what it means for November. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Summer weather is finally here, and that means it's time for flip-flops, sandals, and your summer wardrobe. But for some people, it's the season of painful feet. Hi, this is Phoebe with the Good Feet Store, and to keep you out of pain and having fun this summer, you need some great support in all those shoes you're wearing. Our patented arch support system has helped countless people find relief from foot, knee, hip, and back pain. Like Dale. Listen to his real Good Feet story.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
So stop in today for your free personalized fitting and test walk and see what the Good Feet store can do for you this summer.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg, Central Indiana's premier arms dealer. They have over 1,200 firearms in stock, the largest selection of used firearms in the area, from pre-Civil War to modern guns. Premier Arms has always put their customers ahead of their profits. They always have ammunition available when a customer buys a firearm. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Find them online at premierarms.com. Premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
I'm John Morgan. When you call Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, your very own army springs into action immediately, 24/7. Our investigators, legal staff, and over 900 lawyers work together to fight to get you the best result as quickly and easily as possible. Insurance companies know who we are, and now you know it too. This firm was built for greatness. This firm was built for you. Injured? Call your army. We're ready to roll. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Would you like fries with that? Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
The Home Run Derby added a little zing with the national anthem last night. You could say it was met with mixed reviews.
It was argued. Now, look, Carl Lewis will probably always win the worst national anthem of all time. But that thing we heard last night, I mean, it was, if you were to pick the worst singer you've ever heard, and you put him out on a national stage. I mean, this lady, I'd never heard of this lady. She's some sort of somebody, though, right?
Yeah, she's a country music star. And here's the thing, you compared it to Carl Lewis. He's not a singer. This person is. Ingrid Andress is her name.
What's her name?
Ingrid.
Okay.
And she's a country music singer-songwriter. She has had some hits, collaborated with Sam Hunt. She's had some songs on the Billboard Hot 100. She's earned 4 Grammy nominations, Best New Artist, Best Country Song of 21. She's toured with Stevie Nicks and Keith Urban and Tim McGraw. And
so this is not
by all accounts, radio plays her music.
This is not like they just picked a fan. Like, hey, enter to win, and you could get to sing the national anthem at the Home Run Derby.
Right.
This is some professional. This was horrible. This was an embarrassment that. I mean, it's not like she missed a note, right? It's not like, well, you were a little off on that one.
She missed all the notes.
All of them.
Yeah.
It's like, did you not practice?
Take a listen.
Please welcome 4-time Grammy-nominated country singer-songwriter Ingrid Andress.
Okay, here we go. Uh-huh.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Okay. Just nervous, right?
What so proudly we hailed.
Right around 23 seconds is where it really starts to go downhill.
We're still all right.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed.
Here we go, kids.
And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Yeah.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Crowd steps in now.
O'er the land of the free.
Yikes.
And the home of the brave.
That was bad. Now, you know what that sounded like? You know, like when we always used to joke about how there are certain artists that were kind of compelling, like John Mellencamp was compelling to people because you could see yourself being John Mellencamp. Like the average person could see themselves being John Mellencamp. Like not a great singer, not this incredible range. Like you could not see yourself being Steve Perry or Dennis DeYoung. You would not. Your vocal cords are not capable of achieving their level of production. But you could be a Springsteen or a Mellencamp or a Warren Zevon. And like when you try to sing songs that a Steve Perry or a Lou Graham or a Dennis DeYoung, like in your mind, you're sounding the way they're sounding, but you're actually sounding like this, except you're not some guy working on a construction crew. You're this lady who's supposed to be this nominated professional who's toured for some of the biggest names in music.
You have to wonder, was she sick? Was she doing this on purpose? What was going on there?
Well, she could pull a Biden, and she could claim she was very ill.
I had a cold. I had jet lag. I just got back. A lot of people comparing it to Roseanne Barr's performance. That was different. That was totally politically driven, where she spit afterwards. This woman could not hit the notes.
Well, and it's, as Susan Beckwith told us, singing the national anthem is one of the most difficult songs to actually sing.
Yeah.
And why you would subject yourself to that if you're not capable of singing the national anthem. And again, it's not like, well, that was kind of a mediocre performance, or she really flubbed on that one note. That was probably a little embarrassing. I mean, essentially, 3/4 of the song is a complete train wreck.
Yeah. Can you imagine being one of the baseball players hearing that?
Well, they were panning that, they were obviously showing the players there on the field, these guys who are in the home run derby, and they were applauding most of those guys who were able to keep a straight face.
Yeah, you want to be respectful, but at the same time,
right?
You're hearing that.
Look, look, Jack. Here's the deal. I can't sing. I don't pretend to sing. I would not want to be on a national stage trying to sing. This lady is a singer. I mean, you feel bad for her, but it's like this is your job. This is what you do.
Okay, now from one person who is supposed to be able to sing to some guys who do sing, but they announced their long goodbye tour, right? They've been doing that, and now they're going to be doing a residence in Las Vegas.
So the Eagles have been on this farewell tour. They're like Kiss at this point. They've been they have been since the Bush administration. They've been on this farewell tour, and I just think it's lost a little bit of its luster at this point.
Okay, so the Eagles announced a 24 Las Vegas Sphere residency, and it's going to run from September 20th through October 19th. So it's a very short residency. They're only going to be playing 8 concerts. I checked out their set list. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, they should. They're the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, every single song.
And they got Joe Walsh in there with them. And
hit.
Is it Vince Gill is the guy now that took Glenn Fry's place? I mean, they do have a bit of a catalog. I mean, if they were coming out there on their farewell tour going, this is an obscure song you've probably never heard before.
Well, they're not going to be playing something from their upcoming album, right?
Shut up and play James Dean.
I mean, Take It Easy, One of These Nights, New Kid in Town, Take It to the Limit, Best of My Love, Witchy Woman, Peaceful Easy Feeling, Tequila Sunrise, In the City, I Can't Tell You Why, Lion Eyes, Life's Been Good, Already Gone, Boys of Summer, Funk Number 49, Life in the Fast Lane, Heartache Tonight, and then the encore, Rocky Mountain Way, Desperado, and Hotel California. That would be an amazing show to see.
Yeah, and 3 years from now, you'll still be able to see them on their farewell tour, Casey.
They're still doing it. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
It's hot out there, and if you're tired of paying high utility bills every month because your home AC keeps running, it's because your windows aren't energy efficient. If yours are builder grade and over 8 years old, the seals are likely broken and air is leaking out, and you're paying the price in high utility bills all year long. Window Nation's high-quality windows are built to last a lifetime. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free. There's no limit on how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with 0 down and no interest or payments for 24 months.
And Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty and can be installed in 1 day or less. They were even recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies in America. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-900-8888. 90Nation or go to windownation.com.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, race fans, this is Tim Wicker from Electric Plus. When you're looking for an electrical contractor to take care of your next construction project, facility upgrade, or simple maintenance work, make sure you call Electric Plus to give you a professional and top quality project with the best team members in the industry. Just like race car drivers desire to be the best, the mission of Electric Plus is to be the best electrical contractor, period. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Community Health Network cares for your heart health. From heart scans and vascular screenings to complex heart procedures, you can count on our expert team for the highest quality cardiovascular care, when and where you need it. Your path to a healthy heart starts with knowing your risk. Schedule a heart scan or vascular screening today. Visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
Coming up in 2 minutes, assessing the storm damage doesn't mean any tornadoes. Plus, who will be speaking tonight at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, and some perspective behind a fatal police shooting in Marion from Monday. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Make America safe once again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is tonight's theme at the Republican convention, but Fox's Bill Malugin reports from Milwaukee.
But look, it's going to be hard to compete with what we just saw on the floor here last night. Former President Trump showed up here making his first public appearance since he was shot over the weekend, and this place was electric.
They chanted USA, USA as the former president waved with his right ear bandaged. Tonight, Nikki Haley will speak.
We all remember it. It was a brutal primary season between her and Trump. They were constantly attacking each other. Trump repeatedly called her bird brain. He was upset she stayed in the race so long. We were in the room with Haley when she dropped out of the race back in March. It was tense in there. She didn't endorse him at the time. She told Trump to earn the support of her voters. But look, she recently released her delegates to him, telling them to vote for him.
Now, last night, former President Trump stood next to his new running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who used to be a Trump critic, but Vance tells Fox's Hannity.
President Trump did a really good job, and I actually think it's a good thing when you see somebody you were wrong about him, you ought to admit the mistake.
Democrats are planning to put up billboards near the convention site critical of the new Trump-Vance ticket. President Biden told NBC News he made a mistake, saying before the shooting that former President Trump needs to be in a bullseye.
The truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
The president again called his rival a threat to democracy. House lawmakers will get a briefing today from Secret Service on the assassination attempt. James Comer, Republican chair of the Oversight Committee, tells Fox Business they need answers on how
someone could climb that roof and be noticed and stay on that roof for so long without anyone doing anything about it.
Investigators are still trying to figure out why the now dead gunman did it. It's another deadly day in Israel's war against Hamas and Gaza. Officials say Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 60 Palestinians. One struck an area Israel had declared a safe zone for displaced civilians. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Were there tornadoes? Radar is clear. It's mostly cloudy, 72 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. It's too early to say, but Maddie Johnson with the National Weather Service says it appears there may be indications of some tornado damage in and around Elkhart and LaPorte.
Just a lot of trees and power lines down, and we're still actually getting photos for both of those sites.
She says it's the same system that produced 10 confirmed tornadoes in the Chicago area. Thousands were without power across central and northern Indiana early this morning. The perps who tried carjacking a person in Grant County tried hiding in a city library in Noblesville to get away from the cops. The men had led police on a chase from Grant County to Noblesville. One of the suspects was found in the library. The other, a teenage boy, was caught nearby. Congressman Jim Banks will be the primetime speaker at the Republican National Convention this evening. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Banks says he owes a lot to former President Donald Trump, who he says helped establish his political career in Indiana.
And now we're marching toward November with a strong shot and pathway to be Indiana's next senator. So I'm being invited as an ally of President Trump to speak on that stage.
Banks with WIBC's Tony Katz. He says he'll touch on how the GOP party represents the working class. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
62 Indiana state troopers are at the RNC helping with security measures. He was accused of rape and child molesting. That's what a man from Marion was faced with as he was shot and killed by police on Monday. Michael Guy would not go peaceably as Marion cops came to arrest him.
One of the city officers then used his department-issued taser, which proved to be ineffective.
Guy then grabbed a gun from an officer, and that's when he was shot and killed. They aren't on Team USA this year, but Fever head coach Christy Sides says they will be eventually. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston.
I think just keep doing what they're doing, just being prepared, being ready, and that's who they are. They're going to be ready when that opportunity comes around again.
Indiana taking on the Dallas Wings tomorrow ahead of the Olympic break. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, and for good reason. They really ought to call it Clean Your Filters Month because your carpets are the largest filter in your home, and right now they are probably loaded with pollen and dirt and dander and who knows what else, and it takes a professional to get them clean. How about having Zero Res help you take on all of that with a great July special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129 and get a 4th room free, which is $115 saving and $75 off air duct cleaning too. The Zero Res service is easy to line up. You can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. And don't forget the ZR Water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129. Plus you'll get a 4th room free and $75 off air duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZeroResIndy.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 16th. It's 5 minutes after 10. That's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and let's talk about the number of state employees. It is now at a record high, restored to pre-pandemic levels. There are 32,075 employees working for state agencies as of this week.
You have 2 options when you listen to this show. You can either hate me or you can just actually listen when I tell you stuff because the overwhelming majority of the time, it absolutely comes true. I guess you could hate me while my stuff is coming true. I guess there's probably a third option. You could merge those together into one thing. And one of the things we have told you throughout this whole COVID debacle, if you go back to, let's just start when it was the 2 women, and then it was me and the other blonde lady, and now it's me and the current blonde lady. And when she gets sick of me, then there'll be me and the third blonde lady. You know, we'll keep saying the same thing.
Maybe we'll get your redhead in here one of these days.
Boy, look at how hard it was to get somebody the last time, Casey. I think they'll pull the plug on both of us. When you decide it's time to go, we'll say, we've had enough of this guy.
That should scare you just a little bit that your future's in my hands.
Well, that's why I'm so nice to you. One of the things we've said from the very beginning, one of the grossest parts of the whole COVID thing is how well-off governments have proven to be during and came out during COVID. If you look at the amount of money that printed money, which made everything more expensive for you, the amount of money that went to your state and local governments, it is a disgusting amount of money. And the question is, for what? And when you look at this, the one group of people who not only got out okay, but got out better during COVID or from COVID, it certainly wasn't you. It's the governments. It's the governments. It's the school corporations. It's the towns. It's the cities. And it is certainly the states.
Okay, so they're saying that when the pandemic hit, a lot of people decided just to retire and move on, and they lost a lot of the workforce. But now we're up to full strength.
Oh, so here, this is the thing I love about the blatant lying that takes place from these politicians. So, like Holcomb, remember during the debate where he famously was talking about the famous hyper-offensive line, one of many that he delivered, but he was talking to Rainwater, I think was trying to pin him down. Now, the debates were weird because they weren't standing next to each other. They were all in different rooms, and so there was a delay. But, like, I think Rainwater was trying to pin him down on all the, when they got off COVID, they were talking about the government and the growth of government. And Holcomb famously said, well, we've cut to the bone. We've cut to the bone in Indiana government. And it is like, you are a state of 7 million people with, at the time, I think they had 30,000-ish employees. And it's like, get out of here with this cut to the bone stuff. And we keep seeing all of these things happen where the party of low taxes and limited government, again, look at what they do. You can hate me all you want. Just look at what they do. They keep growing the government. They're not cutting. They're not getting smaller. They're getting bigger.
Okay, well, the one thing that we're not talking about, and that can be, it's true here, you started off by talking about if I were to leave, then you would be gone. And obviously they would have to fill this time slot with somebody, something. And that costs money. Every time you have turnover of employees and you rehire, you've got to get them on board. You've got to get them up to speed. You have to train them. So not only is it costing taxpayers money because it's a bloated agency, it's even more so because it costs money to hire people as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 30, now the current count, according to Indiana Capitol Chronicle, who had a big expose on this, is 32,075 state workers. Now, this is important, right? And this is where the show earns the money because we tell you stuff that you're not going to hear anywhere else. My guess would be based on that number. Yes, Hoosiers employed by state government agencies. So that is not even factoring in the biggest little cup of soup, which are these contractors, because the overwhelming majority of work that gets done in the state of Indiana ain't done through state employees. It's done through these contractors who also employ people. And I would be willing to bet if you added up the amount of workers in the contracts, it's every bit of this. So you just go ahead and double that, and you're talking 64,000 plus people who are doing work for the state of Indiana. I mean, it is a disgustingly large amount of people. And the point on this is so much of this air quote work. Is it government we even need? Is it government that needs to be done? I think if you did the deep dive on it, or even not even a deep dive, if you did a shallow end dive on this, you would find a lot of these positions, a lot of this government doesn't even need to exist. So how does the party, this is my question to the Indiana Republicans. How does the party that's supposed to be of low taxes and limited government, why do they keep raising the amount of people in the government? How does that jive together? Wouldn't we have used COVID as an opportunity to say, hey, we got lucky and a lot of people that were making a lot of money were willing to get out of here and we didn't have to fire them. They went of their own volition. Hey, great. Now we've reduced the workforce by 3% and let's keep going through attrition. No, their response over the past 3 years has been every single year to grow the government.
And the same thing is happening on the federal level as well. When we have Joe Biden saying that he created 2,000 jobs, these are government jobs and they don't attribute to productivity in the state or the country.
Perfect. And this is not in any way meant to be an indictment of people who work in the government. I was around them. There's many fine people who work very, very hard and are wonderful people. However, you produce nothing. And I said this when I was working in the government. I said this about myself. Government workers produce nothing. They do not make things, right? Like they don't. Now, there are some of
They're
these.
not in the widget factory.
Exactly. There are some of these contractors, et cetera, who are doing business with the state. They're making things. But I said this about myself. We produce nothing. All we are is a hindrance to people, by and large. Now, is some government needed? Police, et cetera. Yes, absolutely. But by and large, government is a hindrance to progress for people. There are 32,000 people plus who, by and large, are a hindrance to productivity in society. Now, again, no way a condemnation of people who work for the state. There's many people who are fine workers, but our state government is a disaster. It is a train wreck. Look at the high-profile, just complete debacles by this state, and we don't even have time to run through them here. But then when you factor in they're doing this while growing the government.
So nearly 48 hours after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, investigators are struck by their lack of leads and also lack of motive for the shooter. They did finally, however, they were able to access Crook's phone.
Oh, they finally pulled that off. Good for them.
And they found nothing on it.
Oh, there's nothing on it.
How is it that a 20-year-old has zero digital footprint?
Well, okay, so yesterday we talked a lot about how it's important not to immediately delve into the conspiracy theory world and to live in a world of facts, and that's part of what we do, and that's, part of our job is on this radio station is to comment on the facts and the things that we know or things we can reasonably speculate. I am with you 100%, Casey. There's a whole bunch of things that need explanations from the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of them, is how a 20-year-old has no social media footprint whatsoever. Like my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. She doesn't do, social media at all. But if you really wanted to, find something on her on the internet, you could, like you can with any single person that you would want to do that. How does a 20-year-old kid not have a social media footprint or a almost no online footprint whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's the same way, and she's similar in age. She's not on any of the apps, but I'm sure if I looked, I could find her on a Friends.
Sure.
I Googled you this morning, Rob Kendall. And a picture of your wife did show up.
Oh, how exciting.
So you are able to
Stalker. It's kind of weird.
Right?
Why were you Googling me?
Oh, that fight that was going on Twitter.
Oh.
It just, something came to me.
Oh.
I wanted to look something up about you.
Oh, yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff about me on the internet. Some of it's true and some of it's not, and it's deciphering which is true and what's not. It's a whole game. You can spend a whole day playing that game. Right? What about these things with Rob is actually true?
So the FBI isn't talking about what they're finding on this guy's phone. The wife of that victim who died at the rally refused to take Joe Biden's phone call. She said she didn't want to talk to him.
And that's her right. And I think Trump said he will go to the funeral. Now, it's her right to tell Trump she doesn't want him to go to the funeral if indeed she doesn't. However, so you've got the kid with the phone that there's nothing on. The kid has no verifiable online presence almost, other than apparently they've admitted he was in some commercial for BlackRock. Yes, thank you. I was going to say Blackwater. BlackRock, yes. And they've admitted that's him. There's some online video about him making a joke about the size of his manhood that has surfaced. And, okay, so there's that's very concerning. How is that a thing? Then there's the question of, it has come out now that there were apparently police officers in the building that he used to get to fire the shots at Trump. How could there be officers in that building but not anybody standing on the roof? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And now you've got some networks fighting over whether he used a ladder or not to get up on the roof.
Well, okay, so that's the question. How did he get? How did he know that would be a building without somebody on top of it? And the bigger question is, clearly something or someone drove this kid to attempt to assassinate Donald Trump. Like that, you don't just wake up one day and go, I think I'll try to shoot at Donald Trump. Clearly something or someone drove him to do that. There has to be some sort of footprint of what that was. I just simply refuse to believe that there is the guy just woke up one day and said, I'm going to try to shoot Donald Trump, and got lucky and just conveniently picked the one building without anybody on top of it.
And now the director of the Secret Service has said that it was a complete failure. The buck stops with her. However, she's not resigning. And President Biden called her him.
Yes, that's correct. It would once again show, yes, in that interview with Lester Holt. Are you implying, Casey, that Joe Biden does not have a firm grasp of the facts? Is that what you're trying to tell our audience?
Was that an implication or was that a direct?
I think it's a very direct. Hey, It's True Crime Tuesday.
It is, and we've got Donnie Burgess. He's going to join us next, and he's going to give us an update on what's going on with the Delphi.
Yeah, we kind of thought there's been so much going on, and obviously with all this breaking news, and we've obviously over the past several weeks been hitting the stuff with Biden very hard, and Delphi's been a little bit lost in the shuffle. We thought let's kind of, Donnie has covered this from the get-go very closely. He's just, nobody knows Delphi like Donnie Burgess. And so we thought let's get him in here, get an update on where everything is, when are we going to trial, what are the rules of the trial. We'll get you updated on everything you need to know with Delphi.
It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Assassination of a former U.S. president.
I was about 20 feet from the president.
Next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
Those loud cracking pops.
10 to 12 Secret Service agents pounce on him.
Are you ready? On you. Ready? Move!
Where do we go from here as a nation?
There's no place in America for this kind of violence.
What happens next?
It could have been a lot worse.
Happens here.
The motive here is going to be very important.
93 WIBC.
Mike loves summer in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. And right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's almost here. The best days of summer return this August with your 2024 Indiana State Fair. Join us for endless fun, where there's something for everyone. Take a stroll and enjoy your favorite traditions, or enjoy one of the many new additions. This year, we're celebrating the art and nature of fun, presented by Newfields. Grab discount tickets today at indianastatefair.com. 15 magical days full of fun. Returns August 2nd through 18th. Closed Mondays. Plan your trip today and save big. See you at the fair.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
B Window is celebrating our independence with $400 off per window, $250 off per patio and entry door, plus 12 months same as cash. Go to bwindow.com for more.
Well, Rob, it is Tuesday, and you know what that means.
True Crime Tuesday.
That's right. It is time for True Crime Tuesday with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And we want to get an update on the Delphi murder case. The Delphi defense team taking Frank's issues to the Supreme Court, requesting for a new special judge. And we have an expert, somebody who has been reporting on this from day one.
Yes, we figured it'd be a good idea to get everybody up to date on everything going on with Delphi. Donnie Burgess from the WIBC newsroom, who is, I would say, one of the 3 most knowledgeable people on the entire planet.
I'm absolutely loving the mood music that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
We are set for this discussion now.
All right, so let's start with this. When is this case going to trial?
October 14th is the that is the trial date for now.
Do you believe that will happen?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because there are still, I have a lovely list here that the listeners can absolutely see, but there are so many hearings and so many.
Can I hold that up for the people?
Yes,
so people can see that? I just want to make sure like your social security number wasn't on there or something.
No, absolutely not. There are still so many hearings and issues to figure out on that piece of paper that in each one of these could absolutely change the entire case, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We should talk a little bit about
the Franks issue, and everyone might be wondering who's Frank.
Yeah, who is Frank?
All right, Donnie, what is a Frank's motion?
Frank's motion is essentially the defense team for Richard Allen gathers information that they claim was available to law enforcement at the time, and says if this information was properly disclosed to the judge, then a reasonable judge would have never signed off on a search warrant for Richard Allen's home.
It's somewhat similar, not completely, but somewhat similar to like why Alec Baldwin's case got dismissed.
I am so glad you brought that up, because that right there is a great example of everything that's these hearings and everything involved in the Franks hearing. But the Franks motion, it's so easy for me to start rambling with this.
Absolutely,
if you can't
love
tell.
it. Yeah, take the whole segment.
But essentially, the Franks motions, there have been 4 so far since September of last year, and these motions, these are where we start hearing things about Odinism, alternate suspects, phone data, things like this.
So these are some of the topics that are mentioned as part of the evidence in the Franks motion.
Yes, and the defense is saying all of this was available to law enforcement at the time before Richard Allen was on anyone's radar. And we have since learned through evidence that most of that, a part of that is true. Like Odinism was investigated as part of this case since 2018 and things like of that nature.
And as we learned in the Baldwin case, the prosecution has an obligation to turn certain things over to the defense, right?
Yeah, so there are discovery rules to follow and things like that. But before we get there, the Franks motion, essentially the defense is saying that Special Judge Fran Gall, she has ruled on the first 2.
She said no dice,
She said, yeah, forget those. She has still not ruled on the 3rd and the 4th. It's been over 120 days since the 3rd motion, over 70 days since the 4th motion, and it's been about 65 days since she said that she would rule on both. And apparently, Indiana trial rule says she has 30 days.
So she's way past 30 days.
And they're saying that's unacceptable. And so they want this issue to be brought to the Supreme Court of Indiana, and for them to establish a new special judge to rule over just those Franks motions.
Donnie Burgess is our guest. It's True Crime Tuesday. We're getting you up to date on everything you need to know about Delphi. I am but a casual observer. I get 90% of my information from you. The other 10% is from my dad, who's obsessed with this case. She seems rather one-sided. I mean, again, I'm just a casual observer. I'm not a man of the law. It just doesn't seem like she's got a lot of tolerance for the defense.
That is a conclusion you can reach for sure. There is bad blood between the defense and the judge. They have tried twice to have her removed, which is a decision that's left up to her if she would like to step down. She decided twice no. So this is
Why
another
does she want
option.
this so bad? Like if this case is such drama and such a headache, and if somebody were like, Rob, you don't have to take this case anymore.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, Evan. She seems to really want to have this case, and that kind of is a red flag to me, Donnie.
You know, I was also asked recently, why does the defense want this so bad? Why have they stuck by Richard Allen for so long, even after being disqualified and through all of the ups and downs? Why are they still there? It's a funny comparison on both sides of that.
They've been disqualified.
Yes.
By her.
Yeah, they were disqualified, and the Indiana Supreme Court told the judge that she went about that in an improper way, and that this case needs to get on track. That is words from Chief Justice Loretta Rush, and that the lawyer should be brought back onto the case, which happened, and so here we are.
Okay, as a lay person, I have no confidence in whatever comes down if indeed this thing goes to trial. Like I have no if they convict him, I'll say it was totally stacked against him. If he's somehow found not guilty, I'm going to look at it and go, well, this thing was such a clown show. If it had been handled properly, maybe he would have been convicted. I feel like I'm in a majority of people who have no confidence in what's going on right now either way.
Yeah, there are people who have no faith in the state. There are people who have no faith in the defense. There are people who have no faith in either. And it is not hard to come to that conclusion, because essentially, while all of this is happening, you still have a family who has no answers,
right.
A community who has no answers.
And a guy rotting in jail.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. I've always made it a point to say, if you believe an innocent until proven guilty, we still have a man in jail after 2 years who has been just sitting there waiting.
And I expect the defense to throw everything at the wall. Like, that's their job. I expect the state to be a lot more forthright, because they're the ones who should be pursuing justice. The defense should be totally one-sided. The state should be pursuing justice. And I feel like in many cases, they're more wacky than the defense.
Well, see, that's when we start getting into some of these delicious hearings that are coming
Look
up.
at him.
In
He's
motions.
like licking his chops. He's like, I can't wait to cover these things. What are they? What's coming up?
We have 3 hearings set for the end of this month, July 30th, 31st, and August 1st.
Okay.
Here are the motions that still need to be ruled on. The defense's motion to suppress Richard Allen's prison statements, where he made he confessed to the crimes, but the details he gave do not match what actually happened in the crime.
Right.
The state has motioned to keep things like Odinism and alternate suspects completely out of the trial. The jury should never be allowed to hear any of that.
Wait. They're saying the defense cannot say, we think Frank... I'm just using Frank because it's a Frank did it, right? I mean, that wouldn't seem you could put up forward much of a defense if you can't say who you think did it.
So then there's still the defense's motion to compel the state to hand over evidence, and this is where we kind of get into the Alec Baldwin situation.
Yeah.
The whole reason why that case was dismissed is because the judge agreed that the state of New Mexico did not properly follow evidence and discovery rules, and that has been what the defense has argued since day one. That they have waited months, sometimes a year, for evidence, and things are not handed over when they should be. And then this has been confirmed by both sides. Police interviews have been completely lost and taped over.
Lost?
What?
Yes.
What?
Initial police interviews.
They haven't been archived.
Initial police interviews within the first few weeks have been taped over in some cases, and some are lost. That has been confirmed by the prosecution.
So, like, what somebody said, well, this is the biggest case maybe in the history of this state, and Fred's got some interesting info, but we're running out of tapes. We just can't go to Walmart and get any more tapes, so we're going to just tape over Fred's.
That essentially
you know what?
That's a situation there.
You know why you're so good? Because you just do all of this with a straight face. Like I don't know how you do it.
Hold back the eye roll.
I mean, you're just delivering the news. I call Donnie. My name for Donnie is the news in the building because he just delivers the news. And you're so good about just doing it all. Just
I know I'm running us late, but we still have a few more, and then I'll leave you guys alone.
You can just turn around and tell Kurt Darling what you think of him. He's right there over your shoulder.
I told him I'd get him the news at about 11 o'clock. The defense still wants to sanction the prosecutor and hold him, get him a little bit of punishment for some of this evidence mishaps and everything. And the defense has also motioned to move Allen out of the state prison that he's still being held in and move to a county jail, which the local sheriff's department in Carroll County has said on the record, we have no problem with that. We're ready for him whenever you want to move him over.
It
still hasn't happened.
It just seems like they're going out of their way to totally destroy this guy.
And the big one, they still want to dismiss the entire case.
Well, there's that. Okay, so do you think that all of these hearings will be done before October, 14th?
No, I can't see it happening. I can't, because of just this case. This case has proven itself in the past to not get things done on time. We've had about 4 or 5 trial date reschedules, and like I said, every single one of these motions on their own,
they have to be addressed,
could completely change the entire case. If they're not allowed to present a certain amount of evidence, boom, that changes the entire thing. And that's just one, and that could change this supposed October 14th trial date that we have.
How long what do you think the duration of the trial would be?
It's October 14th to November 15th. It's been extended by 2 weeks. Originally, it was only about 2.5 weeks.
I hope you're preparing a book for all of this, because nobody knows this quite like you, Donnie Burgess, and you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's facing the crowds. It's mostly cloudy, 74 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:31. Former President Donald Trump made his first public appearance since being injured in an assassination attempt on Saturday. Trump entered the Republican National Convention Monday evening to applause from the crowd as he picked J.D. Vance to be his running mate.
I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans.
Vance is a U.S. Senator from Ohio. Country singer Ingrid Andress is taking a lot of criticism after singing the national anthem last night in Arlington, Texas.
That our flag was still
The off-key performance came ahead of the 2024 Home Run Derby during the MLB All-Star Week at Globe Life Field. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a lowball instant offer. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Tom and Kim from Sharpeville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. We were wanting to move to Florida and looking to sell our home. We wanted to sell quick with an agent who would maximize the sales price. After being approached by Mark Dietel's team, we knew they were right for us. It was incredible. Mark sold our home on the first day at full price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code 2024 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code 2024 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code 2024 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code 2024.
Discover Masterpiece Quilts at the International Quilters Hall of Fame celebration in Marion, Indiana, July 21st through 23rd. This amazing celebration features world-class exhibits, great workshops and lectures, and the induction of the 2024 honoree. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic. Cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Just when I was getting used to being a single mom to 2 kids, I learned I was about to be laid off. I had no idea how I would make ends meet. Then I heard about the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and I applied for help.
This is Diane's story. Indiana renters who are struggling to pay rent can call 211 or visit indianahousingnow.org to apply for rental assistance through this limited time program. We're here for Diane. We're here for renters. We're here for you.
Based on a real story, program funded by the U.S. Department of Treasury. Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indie Decorative Concrete patio. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Plumbing problems stink. The LD Smith Crew can handle anything. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
Here we go. It's that portion of the program we turn over to you at 317-684-8444 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. I saw that somebody had tweeted at you, Rob, yesterday that they needed some therapy, and you said, here's the phone number. Leave a voicemail. We'll work with you if you leave a message. So somebody wanted to call and talk about yesterday when Hammer came on the show. He was talking about how they would not be doing a Hammer and Nigel store T-shirt with that iconic photo of Donald Trump after the assassination attempt on him. He explained why as well, and somebody wanted to call and comment on that.
So I was listening to your show, and I heard Hammer say they're not going to make a T-shirt with the iconic Trump in the air with the American flag behind it. I have seen other companies do it already. I think Hammer is actually missing a golden opportunity. I would recommend he would do is find out if the victim's family is like doing maybe a fundraiser for funeral costs or doing some type of charity or something. Maybe contact the family, see if the guy had a favorite charity, something, and then say, hey, we're going to sell these T-shirts of Trump with the fist and the flag, and we're going to donate the entire proceeds to your family for the funeral costs, or maybe even the charity that that guy liked.
Okay, so there is a GoFundMe account already set up for the family of Corey Compouture, and it's been organized by Meredith O'Rourke, who is Trump's top finance person, and this was a Donald Trump authorized GoFundMe account. And so far, their initial goal was to raise $1 million, but it has surpassed that goal. So far, it's up to $4 million, 54,000 different donations as of yesterday afternoon. And some of the top donors included Dana White and also Kid Rock.
That's great.
Another phone call. We talked about conspiracy theories yesterday, and somebody has one.
You guys are talking about conspiracy theories, and I'm not big on conspiracy theories, although there's one, every so often there's one that makes me even go, oh, that's interesting, and then I have questions. The only one from the Trump attempted assassination that made me have questions, there's a video. You can go look it up for yourselves. There's a woman sitting behind Trump. She's not Secret Service. She's just a regular person. She's standing up moments before the gunshots go off. She sits down, looks directly where the shooter is going to be, and then she has like a sign in her hand or something. And then when the gunshots go off, again, you can go look for yourselves, she starts smirking. She doesn't flinch at all. She just starts smirking. She gets down for just a second, pops right back up, standing as the shots are still going on, and is taking photos or video of Trump as he's on the ground. And again, this is all while gunshots are going off. So people have the questions. Did she know the shooter? Did he tell her what he was going to do? Why is she smirking? How did she know to get her phone and video out so fast?
So we're led to believe that she knew somebody was going to be shooting at a person she was right behind, and she was just going to stand there and just hope the bullets didn't hit her? I mean, I'm just trying to work through this logically. I mean, clearly someone died who was in that almost exact same position. Does that?
No, it doesn't track.
Typically, if there's a crime being committed, they don't put one of the suspects in full view for the world to see. I mean, I think, again, it comes back to this thing of people want to always believe there's more to the story, especially when it's some irrelevant person, like with Oswald taking out someone like John Kennedy. Now, there are very serious questions that need to be answered. How is it that there was a police presence in that building, but not one on the roof?
Mm-hmm.
How did the kid get up onto the roof? Why did no one respond when the people who were attending the rally or were outside the rally were clearly identifying him on that roof? Why wasn't something done? All of these things definitely need to be answered. But of all the things that I think might have happened that day, I don't think that woman is any part of it.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of comments about how the people in the crowd, they hunched over, but they stayed. They didn't run for the exits right away. And when something like this happens, everybody's got their phone in their pocket now. A lot of people were reaching for their phones.
Well, and you never know how you would behave in time of crisis, right? You have no idea. People may have not even known exactly what was going on. I don't know. I mean, just remember, the initial reaction on social media was the photo of that guy who was some Italian YouTuber who was supposedly, this is the guy who's the shooter, and clearly he wasn't. So, all these questions need to be answered. Nobody should just take the government's word for it. People need to be held accountable. I don't think that woman's part of the equation.
Another phone call, and this one is about journalism.
Yeah. After watching the Lester Holt interview and then kind of a little bit of the coverage of the Republican National Convention, my wife comes running down to me and tells me, she's like, the news has a different tone tonight. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, they're not seeming like they're running up and trying to be a cheerleader for Biden. I was like, oh, so you mean like they're doing journalism? And I was like, yeah, that's what journalism's supposed to be. You guys have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
So you mean actually asking questions and holding our officials accountable for their answers?
Well, isn't that the biggest takeaway the past several weeks is that they've actually asked relevant questions. They've actually asked pertinent things to the American people. They've actually put Joe Biden in a position where he has to answer things. I mean, that's sort of the takeaway the past 3 weeks, right? They've done their job.
And to that man, his wife, credit, she noticed it. There is a difference, a different tone. It's because it's not just parroting whatever he says and going along with it, shaking your head. Oh, okay. No, actually ask the question. Here's another phone call. Which would we say next, Kevin? Was this one called what? Responsibility? Yeah. Okay. So this is somebody's take. You were talking about the First Amendment yesterday. And where does rhetoric stop? And here's her comment.
You want to know about First Amendment and where the line is drawn? I think the line is drawn on personal responsibility. People have personal responsibility about what they do and how they handle themselves from the input they receive from outside world. If you're having trouble with the input you're receiving from the outside world and it's causing you to do things, then you need to go talk to someone. You have control over yourself. Don't blame things on other people. That's the problem in this world. We're letting this younger generation and these younger folks blame everything on someone else instead of looking at them and saying, why did you do that? Not why did they make you do that. That's our problem in this world right now, and we need to work on that, is look at those people in the eye and ask them, why did you do that? What is your personal responsibility in this matter? And we just don't seem to do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I agree with her. There's a lot of victimhood going on. However, if you're suffering from mental health issues, you don't even know that you have a problem.
Yeah. But she's right, though. It's like, look, nobody loathes these politicians more than me on a local level, on a state level. Nobody's more critical of them than me. I've never once ever felt compelled or even pondered being violent against anyone. I'm going to use my platform to tell you what I think of you. I'm going to tell our large audience exactly how you're screwing me and in many cases them over. And I'm going to the best of my ability, try to inspire and push back against what you're doing. But I've never, ever felt remotely, the urge or anything to be violent with these politicians because that doesn't solve anything. And ultimately, I'm not accountable if I'm not urging other people to be violent. I should not be able to do my radio show. I should not be able to point out bad things or where politicians are failing. I shouldn't feel bad about giving people nicknames or fighting back in the little forum that I have to fight back against them because some person who might hear me might have mental health issues. I mean, that's ultimately on that person or the people who take care of that person to ensure that they're not, I'm not, what do they call it, dog whistling or whatever people to violence. I've gone out of my way many times to say in the most peaceful way possible, you should go protest. So I agree with that lady 100% that ultimately you are responsible for your own actions. Now, that being said, I think the left has got a real hard time squaring how if you're calling somebody a Hitler or a dictator or a fascist or a threat to democracy or whatever, how you're all of a sudden going to say, hey, you should tone down the rhetoric a little bit. Well, you guys are the ones
we did this,
that,
but we
right?
shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Words don't hurt people. People hurt people, right?
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC, and Hammer is going to join us next.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon. The latest from the RNC convention. Tony Kennett will call in from Milwaukee. We'll have some caller roulette, and we'll try to have some fun. Remember that? Let's have fun. 93 WIBC.
Sinus pressure, congestion, snoring, being unable to sleep, being unable to breathe. Yep, it's another sinus infection. You've Googled, watched videos, tried over-the-counter sprays, medications, and home remedies, but nothing ever works. There must be some kind of treatment that can help, right? Indianapolis Sinus Center understands how draining it can be when you try treatment after treatment without any relief. That's why they've been serving and treating the community for over 50 years. Indianapolis Sinus Center has performed thousands of procedures and helped thousands of patients find lasting relief they didn't know was possible. Patients like you. If you've had enough of sinus pain, pressure, and congestion, schedule a visit with Indianapolis Sinus Center today. Call 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward breathing easy. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or visit IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, July 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, July 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at Metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
He joins us from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program. Jason Hammer, good morning.
Good morning. You can buy your I'm Voting for the Convicted Felon t-shirt right now, store.hammerandnigel.com.
So there's been an interesting thing going on Twitter. I've been just cursory paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who are very upset at the radio station about something. What's going on?
So at the end of yesterday, I put out a tweet and I tagged everybody in it because yesterday was kind of a different day around here.
Yes.
I would argue yesterday with, 48 hours removed from an assassination attempt on the president, night one of the RNC, vice presidential candidate being picked. It may have been one of the busiest news days since the 9/11 era. So I tagged everybody and was like, hey, great job today,
Yeah.
All of our shows are very different. Tony does things different than you guys. I do things different than you guys and Tony. I mean, but we all bust our butts, right? So I put out a little, hey, go team go kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And most people were like, right on, thank you. But there was one turd that accused WIBC of not having journalistic integrity. I miss the days of Greg Garrison. You just regurgitate Republican talking points. Now, mind
You're just
you,
radio personalities.
yeah. Imagine that, employed
Correct.
by a radio station. Shocking. But the thing is, like, you can tell that's somebody that does not listen to this radio station. To say that we echo or regurgitate Republican talking points. Would Jefferson Shreve say that? Would Governor Holcomb say that? Would the Flanders boys say that?
Old Rod and Todd. How about the Duke of Spendenburg?
Yeah.
Right.
How about Jim Banks?
I mean,
How about Todd Rokita?
right. We go after all these dudes, right? I mean, that's just who we are. We try to call out the people that we think need to be called out. Now, sometimes I might call somebody out that Rob or Tony would disagree with, and that's fine. Rob could call somebody out that I might disagree with. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you can't say that this radio station is just regurgitating Republican talking points.
Yeah, there is a laundry list of Republican politicians who would love to see me floating face down in the White River if they thought they could get away with it. Like that's just like that's the premise of our show is how the Republicans are letting everyone down.
Well, it's definitely selective hearing on their part.
And the ultimate flex, this is what this, I think it was a chick, said on the the troll Twitter thread. I've got a degree in political science. Well, excuse me, but coming up this afternoon, we're going to play How Have I Injured My Crotch?
Hey, so you watched the lady have the disaster at the home run derby last night?
Yes. I was the one that kind of, I think, put that out there quicker than anybody.
Yeah.
Because I was watching that with Chris, and we were like, how is this woman 4-time Grammy nominee? Like, it sounded like somebody that, like, had the Impractical Jokers in her ear.
Yeah.
Now hit a wrong note again.
My favorite part, whenever you will send me a video or Nigel, is hearing you guys laugh in the background. Just random laughter in the background. I mean, that was a train wreck.
It was. And you're right. It sounded like a contest winner.
Yeah.
Somebody from the Wish Foundation gets to come down and sing, and you're not supposed to boo them because they're trying really hard.
This is someone who makes their living singing.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody that goes on tour. People are expected to pay money to see that.
Yeah. Now, you and I got in a kind of a back and forth about, because it was for the home run derby, who is the ultimate all-time home run derby team?
Right. Now, if you could get into a time machine, like we've talked about before, and you have to get 5 players. Now, there's more than 5, but for the sake of the argument, 5 players, all-time home run derby. Do you disagree with any of the people that I have on this list?
Oh, boy. Who's your list?
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, steroid-induced Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
I want him so drugged out of his mind that his head looks like a watermelon. Let's see, who else? Willie Mays, and I got room for one more. And that last one is really tough for me.
Here's the issue, though. If we're going to do the steroid era, we had the 2 best of all time, which were Sosa and McGuire, 98, 99.
What about Mark McGuire?
Sosa hit those 500-foot bombs that one year. I mean,
but if we're going to allow all the drugs here, right? And in my contest, anything you want to do, steroids, cocaine, heroin, fine.
gotcha.
Babe Ruth could take the same things.
I got you. So you could have a drug-induced Willie Mays.
Yes, drug-induced Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
And those dudes will play circles around drug-induced Sammy Sosa.
What about Dave Kingman, though?
What do I think about Kingman's performance? By the way, Abdul pointed this out. We recently celebrated the anniversary of the great Lee Elia rant.
That's correct.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go to YouTube. Make sure you're not at work, but turn the volume up.
Yeah. And do it at noon.
Lee Elia rant, E-L-I-A.
And then where do you get some of these guys who had these wacky, incredible, like 1 or 2 seasons? Like, I mean, where like Bob Horner, the random dude, had this incredible home run fueled season. Like, do we get that one season Bob Horner? That might be fun to see in a home run derby.
Ken Griffey Jr., case could be made. He's won more home run derbies than anybody. And I feel like if he starts taking the juice, now we got ourselves a derby.
It's a good point. Griffey had all those home runs without being on the sauce.
Right. I mean, he got crap for being injured all the time, but he was the only one that was playing healthy and playing the right way.
Yeah, I kind of miss the steroid era, don't you?
It was like the WWE Attitude Era.
Yes.
You knew what you were watching probably wasn't ideal athletic prowess, but it was entertaining.
But I saw like an intro to the 2000 home run derby, and every one of those guys, I think other than Carlos Delgado and Sosa, were Hall of Famers. Sosa is a Hall of Famer other than the fact that he blatantly cheated.
Well, he wouldn't be if he didn't cheat.
Well, right, but I'm saying, like, it's Ivan Rodriguez, it's Ken Griffey Jr., it's like all these guys who are in the Hall of Fame. I couldn't tell you any of those guys in the home run derby last night.
Yeah, Pete Alonso is like the only one that loves the event, and he laid an egg last night.
Well, you also gave up on baseball.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I didn't give up on you.
Okay.
Or you. Or the Hammer Nigel show. It's coming up this afternoon.
So this afternoon, recap the RNC. Our friends from the Murder Sheet, they may or may not have some leaks.
Kevin with the volume, he's going to kill you.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Summer storm season is in full swing here in Indiana. The rain, the wind, the madness of it all. When the next storm hits and causes wind and hail damage, there's no need to worry. Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com is here to help with all your roofing and siding repairs every shingle time. See, they did the joke again. I love that. Moss Roofing offers free inspections and expertly guides customers through the often frustrating insurance process to ensure the best experience possible. That's why Moss Roofing is your trusted Indianapolis roofing and siding contractor. Talk to Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Cat sent you. 317-747-3665. Your roofing and siding professional is just one phone call away. Moss Roofing, 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Hey race fans, this is Tim Wicker from Electric Plus. When you're looking for an electrical contractor to take care of your next construction project, facility upgrade, or simple maintenance work, make sure you call Electric Plus to give you a professional and top quality project with the best team members in the industry. Just like race car drivers desire to be the best, the mission of Electric Plus is to be the best electrical contractor, period. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
B Window is celebrating our independence with $400 off per window, $250 off per patio and entry door, plus 12 months same as cash. Go to bwindow.com for more.
Coming up in 2 minutes, where the damage was most felt after last night's storms and an ordinance involving your dogs. If you live in Indianapolis, I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
House lawmakers want answers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, getting briefings today from the Secret Service on the Trump assassination attempt. Congresswoman Nancy Mace tells Fox police knew a suspicious person was on a rooftop at Saturday's rally.
How is this even possible? We've all seen the interviews of citizens on the ground, rally goers who saw it, reported it.
Investigators are still trying to figure out why gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks, killed by Secret Service, targeted the former president. Fox's David Spunt reports they've conducted more than 100 interviews.
One of those is that local police officer that went up to the roof, saw crooks armed, and then retreated away, only to hear the gunshots just seconds later. That's when President Trump was hit. That's when Corey Compatore was killed, and 2 others were injured. Right now in Quantico, Virginia, the FBI pouring through Crooks' cell phone. Who is he talking to? Pictures, videos, emails. They want to know if other people may have known about this plan.
Now, former President Trump got a big ovation in his first public appearance since the shooting at the Republican convention. He waved, his right ear bandaged after being nominated. And then he stood next to his new running mate, Senator J.D. Vance. Tonight's Republican convention theme is Make America Safe Again, but one speech is getting the most attention.
After instructing her delegates to vote for former President Donald Trump, Nikki Haley is set to take the stage here in Milwaukee at the RNC to speak in support of the former president. Prior to the attempt on the former president's life, Haley also issued a public call for unity, the very same theme and focus under which the former president has since rewritten his RNC speech.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. Israel will start something controversial next week, sending draft notices to ultra-Orthodox Jewish men as its war against Hamas rages in Gaza, where officials say Israeli airstrikes killed 60 Palestinians. It's a record morning on Wall Street. The Dow at an all-time high. It's up 560 points. America's news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Getting the lights back on. Radar is clear. It is 76 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Thousands of Hoosiers were without power early this morning after some strong storms moved through parts of the state.
South of Elkhart, Indiana, in Elkhart County, and then northwest of LaPorte, Indiana, in LaPorte County.
Possible tornado damage there, says Maddie Johnson with the National Weather Service. 10 tornadoes said to have hit areas in and around Chicago. A person critical after being stabbed on the northeast side late Monday evening. IMPD sent to an apartment home near 46th and Arlington. Detectives not saying much about what led to the stabbing. It's one decision that could alter a teenager's life. Donnie Burgess reports on Monday's police chase in Hamilton County.
The 2 suspects caught and arrested Monday near the Hamilton County Public Library stole a car in Grant County, says Hamilton County Deputy Brian Melton. One suspect is a teenager who let one wrong decision decide everything, says Melton.
It makes you think about how quickly a juvenile could make a knee-jerk reaction on something that really isn't as deep as they perceive it to be.
No one was hurt in the police chase, and both suspects went away without any more trouble. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
City leaders moving ahead with a proposed ordinance last night that may require you to register your dog with the city if they are not spayed or neutered.
The consequences of the actions of backyard breeders can be felt all over our community, especially behind the doors of IACS.
Dana Warren, a vet assistant with IACS, says that the ordinance would clamp down on that. The full council will be looking at it next month. A pair of trays for Tyrese Halliburton in Team USA's tune-up against Australia yesterday, a 98-92 win for the U.S., with his 6 points included. The women's team will soon have a brief warm-up period as they'll be taking on the WNBA All-Stars during the Olympic break. The All-Stars include Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark from the Indiana Fever. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniel.
Government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 16th, 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Republicans from across the country returning to the Republican National Convention today for day two. This after the busy kickoff day. It featured the formal nomination of Donald Trump and also the highly anticipated announcement of who his running mate will be. And one of those Republicans that is there is WIBC's very own Tony Kinnett, and he joins us now on the WIBC hotline. Good morning, Tony.
A very fine Tuesday morning to y'all.
Okay, Kenneth, so we started the show talking about how they had the OnlyFans lady and then the Teamsters guy, and I am looking at this going, I'm not sure I really recognize this Republican Party or what it's all about. I would think that we would spend the prime time on actual liberty-minded people. I don't know, Ron DeSantis, Rand Paul, Mike Lee. Am I totally out in left field on my thinking?
I would argue that it's probably less about the Republican Party as being some type of ideological supercanon where I'm saying, oh, man, I don't know what to believe. I better look to the Republican Party. I don't think that that's particularly how I view them. I view the Republican Party, like many, as kind of a means to an election victory. And at the moment, what it appears the Republican Party is more concerned about is building a broad-based coalition that incorporates the 90s labor Democrats, which have been completely abandoned by those on the left. And that kind of shift away, of course, is concerning. I mean, look, do I like that the pro-life stuff has been removed from the party platform? No. Do I like that the specific language regarding the marriage of a man and a woman removed from the platform? No. Do I appreciate the Teamsters guy getting up there and pointing out quite clearly that it's been a long time since a Teamsters guy has spoken to the Republican? Yeah, for a good reason. Because your leadership is horrible and you do a terrible job of representing the actual members of your union. I agree. However, I'm not necessarily sure that that is as much a condemnation on the Republican Party ideologically as much as this election being extremely unique.
Yeah, I just think the big tent stuff always means I have to go to someone and give in to someone, and it doesn't seem like anybody ever gives in to me.
Well, it depends on what you mean by giving in to you. So let's dig into that a little bit. What are you looking for in concessions?
Well, I think the government always gets bigger under Republicans. I think the government always grows. I think the deficit grows. I think the printing of money always grows. And it's just more and more government programs. And I feel like when we start catering to these people, it's how much government can we give you? That union guy's speech last night, he couldn't care about me at all. It was all about what Trump could potentially do for the unions, which if you're in a union, great, God bless you. But I really, really am offended that the people who have actually fought for the principles of what the Republican Party is supposed to be don't even get speaking roles, or in the case of DeSantis, don't even get invited to the convention. And yet we have these people who have no sense of reliability whatsoever. And in fact, in the case of the OnlyFans lady, what is she famous for being Kanye West's girlfriend, and now she's a primetime speaker? Well, I guess there's nothing here for me anymore.
So again, this is one of the points that I would consider is worth noting, is that you really shouldn't be going to the Republican Party to look for ideological leadership in the party construct itself. I think the platform, like us waiting every year and arguing over what's going to be on the official platform, is a really poor way of actually effectively changing things in the system. It seems kind of like haggling over a dead carcass. Why do I want a bloated carcass to simply be my shade of red? I don't think so. This is why I'm very candidate focused. I'm very candidate specific. I too could care less what some internet whore has to say up on the stage of the Republican convention. I'm sorry. I don't care. And I really don't care as well about the Teamster individual getting up to speak, because he's usually busy screwing over guys that are in the union. So, I mean, I'm just saying, just very clearly, I also don't like we're only for the union kind of people. I'm sorry, screw you. If it's going to be big tent, it's all for all or none for none. You getting in here and saying, well, I sure hope I get some favors, is ridiculous. Now, that's not the R word I wanted to use, but we are on air.
Tony Kinnett joins us. And Tony, the theme for today's convention is Make America Safe Again. And I watched it on TV, and I'm sure that gave me a very different feeling than what you experienced actually being at the convention. What impact did the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump have on the mood of the convention on the floor?
So I'll say two things. Number one, I threw out all of my notes for the show about an hour before the show last night. I had a totally different stuff to talk about, but instead, I've never seen a Republican convention that is as disciplined as this one is. And I know after all of the griping I just did about ideology stuff, you might wonder, well, what is that? How is that consistent? Because very little of this convention is actually about some broad speeches. It's really about a lot of down the ballot response to, okay, well, if the left is going to treat this as something that's not really their problem, that being the attempted assassination, if their kind of motives are laid bare before the country and how they view things, there is absolutely no, quote, we have this in the bag, no problem, end quote, style rhetoric that we saw with Hillary Clinton in 2016. And the assassination attempt has only galvanized we have work to do. We're unified. We're going to get things done. We're going to get the down-the-ballot candidates in there because, God forbid, or I guess I should say, we can ill afford another Biden, Harris, whoever comes after style term.
Tony Kennedy is our guest. He's joining us from the Republican National Convention. So when you're going to these big swanky get-togethers and hanging out with the high society people that an intellectual mega giant such as yourself hangs out at, do they think Republicans are doing a good job governing? Like, what is this is the base of the base, the activist of the activists. This is the
patting each other on the back.
Like, is the perception, hey, we're doing a really good job? Like, do they think Johnson is doing a good job as speaker? What is the perception from people on the ground?
The perception from people on the ground appears to be that there's been a defensive campaign that has been run in the last couple of years and run poorly. There is brand new leadership at the RNC, and there is a wide recognition that Ronna McDaniel, the former chair of the RNC, did a very horrible job. There is a different culture here at the moment. It is entirely focused on the election, and past that, it is entirely focused on issues like, Casey, you alluded to, safety, immigration, the rampant inflation in the economy. Again, as you guys know, I happen to be for the big, huge boogeyman that would tear down a lot of these federal institutions, but I guess I'm not supposed to say that out loud or whatever. It's a very diverse set of communication going on here.
I'm going to be fascinated to hear your answer on this because I have no idea. I could see you going one of two ways. Where are you at with Vance?
I think that everyone griping or cheering about him is completely wrong.
Well, way to pick a side there, Kenneth. Go on.
No. You know me. I pick a third side like nobody's McBusiness over here. So let me explain why. I think that Vance is a vice presidential pick. People freaking out are silly because, as John Adams very, very clearly learned as the first vice president, it is an ornamental position. It is ornamental. Mike Pence was a totally different guy before he was the vice president of the United States. And what did he do for 4 years? Well, Trump's administration and so on and so forth. It is, and what is even Kamala Harris when she's not talking about being unburdened about what has been or laughing about the wheels on the bus? It's all about really the chief press secretary of the United States is the VP. That's the real secret of that office. There have been 11 ties in the Senate for the last century. So we're going to pretend that the VP is important. It's not. I'm sorry. As far as his economic policy, he's focusing on the Midwest. He's a big middle finger to the idea that we need to pick someone who's a specific color and gender in order to be on the VP ticket. I like that. I don't care for Vance's foreign policy specifically because I think it's rather elementary and maybe childish in its hyper-isolationism. But also, once you get into the big chair and you realize that the world doesn't work like it's freaking Starship Troopers, the movie, well, yeah, maybe we should probably start paying attention to protecting our boats at sea instead of saying we need to bring everyone home and build a 30,000-foot wall around the entire coastal United States.
So everybody that you're talking to, do they seem to be behind this choice, or are there any grumblings?
Honestly, the response is really non-committal. I mean, we were all kind of anticipating it could be him, and there has neither been a massive amount of extreme cheering, ripping the shirt off, flashing the crowd at a big sports event. And there also hasn't been the weeping, the gnashing of teeth, the tearing of sackcloth. Everyone that I saw, from the most deepest policy wonks to the representatives to the media people, just kind of looked at each other and says, all right, could have been way worse. Let's get to work.
Okay, so today at the convention, you've got Jim Banks, who is going to be speaking. His birthday is today. Indiana's Jim Banks.
He's also stopping by our booth today.
Be sure to tell him I said hello. Nothing will endear you to him like that.
You want me to send a picture of the finger he's going to give me when I say that?
Telling Robbie's number one. What do you expect from his speech tonight?
I expect he's going to harp very heavily on immigration because that's kind of the thing. That's just what I'm looking forward to seeing a focus on, given, again, the day that it is. I am concerned over a month-to-month period of time that we could get drawn into this being about the personality of Trump and the personality of Biden instead of the policy mistakes over the last 4 years. Banks is someone who will talk a little bit about the assassination, I believe, and I could be dead wrong, and you're more than welcome to rub that in my face later this week. I think he's going to really hit how every state is a border state, and he should. That is what Americans care about. I am tired of seeing girls murdered by these Venezuelan gang members, and I'm sick of nobody doing anything about it. That's what I want to hear him talk about.
What do you expect to hear from Nikki Haley tonight? She wasn't invited. Now she's going to be there. She's taking the stage tonight.
I mean, if she's smart, she'll talk a little bit about the importance of not doing what Biden did over and over. If she's stupid, then she'll talk about social media policy and foreign policy. I have honestly no idea. That was a major shock to me that she got invited. It's clearly a tent movement, kind of try to shore up the neocon establishment wing of the Republican Party. I've talked to some people on the inside of who were on her campaign staff that there's been some ideological shifts that have been going on lately. I'm hearing so many different things, I can't even begin to speculate. She is currently a puddle of Jell-O that hasn't sat in the refrigerator yet.
Hey, we'll get you out of here with this. I always think it's interesting to monitor, comments from our audience, and I struggle with this, Kenneth, because I don't feel like the Republican Party represents me or is fighting for me or my family anymore. And I struggle with, there's a lot of people who just want me to say, hey, Republicans are great and just let them have this moment and this is wonderful. But man, just the lack of specifics, the lack of policy proposals, the track record of Republicans, it's just impossible for me to get fired up about these conventions. Am I just some old man who yells at clouds, or are there a lot of people out there still like me?
First of all, conventions suck. Anyone who gets out there and says, boy, I love conventions, they're a nerd and they should be given a swirly immediately. Number two, I'm sorry, I will reiterate again that it is not 1963. I do not need to say I'm a proud Republican, I'm a proud Democrat, I'm a proud Libertarian. No, you're ridiculous. Go look at the candidates, talk to the candidates, get their ideas. If you're voting for someone because there's a picture of an elephant or a donkey on the cover, you're a child and you deserve to be treated with contempt.
Hey, you're doing a show tonight, right?
Oh, I sure am. Tonight's our big live stream broadcast, and I'm on the set. I look gorgeous. Some say I look like a skinny J.D. Vance, and I don't know how I feel about that, honest to God.
Yeah. All right. Tony Kennett cast tonight, 7 o'clock, WIBC. Joining us from the RNC. You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The attempted assassination of a former U.S. president.
I was about 20 feet from the president. Next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
Those loud cracking pops.
10 to 12 Secret Service agents pounce on him.
Are you ready? On you. Ready? Move!
Where do we go from here as a nation?
There's no place in America for this kind of violence.
What happens next?
It could have been a lot worse.
Happens here.
The motive here is going to be very important.
93 WIBC.
Guys, we're notorious for putting things off. But when it comes to plumbing problems, you don't have to live that way. If you're tired of taking showers with low water pressure or not enough hot water, you've got to stop putting it off and call Lance and the local team at LD Smith Plumbing and ask about water heater specials. These are the guys I trust in my house and in my friends' houses and my relatives' houses, and they're the licensed plumbers you want in your house too. LDSmithPlumbing.com. That's LDSmithPlumbing.com.
A house or business fire is something you never want to think of. But should it happen, think fast. Think Michaelis. Over 35 years of rebuilding lives and spirits at the same time. No one comes more respected or as fast. Trust the ones the insurance companies trust. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
What's in it for me? That's the question that Rob Kendall has been asking about the Republican National Convention. And maybe Mike Braun can answer that. He's going to be on this very program.
Yes, later in July. We touched on this very briefly yesterday. I kind of thought that was going to be our lead story, coming into Monday, was that we'd gotten the confirmation that Braun's going to be here, and that will be the most listened to thing in all of Indiana politics and government this year, because based on the answers Braun gives on that show, I mean, let's face it, Braun was on with Tony earlier today, and I think we'll get into that in a second. That's a much different interview than the interview we're going to do. There's going to be tens of thousands of people who are going to be listening to that interview that Braun does to decide whether they can support him for governor or not, whether they're going to continue to be Donald Rainwater voters. And I just think that's going to be an absolutely fascinating hour of radio. And look, they know we're going to be firm with him. We're going to be fair with him. And he's going to have every opportunity. If he can wow our audience, then he's going to cruise to being the next governor of the state of Indiana.
Do we know exactly when he's going to be coming on the show?
Oh, we know the date. I don't have the time yet, or okay. I'm 99.3% sure we know the date. And they told us later this week they would confirm that, and we'll have the date, and then we'll announce that to everybody as soon as we know. So here's how it's going to work, just for those of you who knew what we're going to do. So we're going to have Braun on, and then we'll have Rainwater on, and then I'm going to allow you to weigh in, you the audience, based on what you hear from both of these guys, who you think I should endorse and support, and then I'll take all of that under advisement, and then in a date to be determined in the near future, early in August. It'll be like a judge, right? You never know specifically when the judge is going to rule. I'll take it under advisement and be back soon, and then we'll have a big announcement, and we'll lay it out very specifically why I'm supporting who I'm supporting.
So when they put the gates around the studio, that's when we'll know that a ruling is about to come down. Well, I hope Mike Braun comes to the show and he comes with specifics, because that's what we're looking for.
Well, I want to think that there is no way that they would allow him to walk into this studio, not only without specifics, but without something big that's really going to wow this audience.
Because they know what we're going to ask him.
Absolutely. There's nothing for them to be afraid of. They know the questions they're going to get. I mean, they don't know the question. This is not a Biden interview here, but they know what our audience is interested in, and we''s see what they have.
And we will do it live, no editing, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, he was on with Tony this morning.
He was.
And, it's interesting because Tony asked him, obviously, about, like, the pick of J.D. Vance. And, and we talked about this in the opening second segment, I think, of the show today. It's not about forgiveness, because I've seen so many people say about the J.D. Vance thing, well, Rob, you're a Christian and you should forgive people, and Trump should forgive J.D. Vance for the things he said about him. I agree, 100%. This is not a question about forgiveness. You can forgive somebody and not say, I want them to be my right-hand person for the next 4 years. And in the case of J.D. Vance, I'm sorry, there's many things I can come back from. There's also, Casey, tomorrow I am going to meet with a very high-profile member of the Indiana General Assembly at an undisclosed location, so that neither one of us will be impeded in our willingness to work together, who I have said some pretty not nice things about, and who has said some pretty not nice things about me. But we're willing to work together because this person has an idea on property tax reform that I think is very, very interesting, and he recognizes I may not like this guy, but he knows a lot about property tax reform. So we're going to go and work together and hash some things out and see if we can come to a consensus to work together.
Yeah, but has this guy said egregious things about you?
He hasn't called me Hitler.
Right. And that's where your problem is.
Right. And so with Trump, and it's not even working together. It's you're picking this guy to be the most integral part of your team. And I don't think Hitler is something you can walk back from. I don't think you should take lightly referring to somebody who gassed 6 million people. I don't think you take lightly someone comparing you to the person who's the most evil person, arguably, to ever walk the face of this earth. I don't take the Hitler comparisons lightly. I don't think I haven't. I can say I don't think. I've never called somebody Hitler, like Obama or Biden or whoever. I've never said they're Hitler. That's no matter what that politician has done, unless they have gassed 6 million people, they are not Hitler. So there's a difference between forgiving somebody and wanting to work with him as a United States senator and saying, I'm going to make this person the most integral part of your team. And I just think it's fascinating how everybody's sort of circling the wagons. Oh, what a great pick. You don't know. No, we have a year and a half of J.D. Vance as a voter, as a voting record of J.D. Vance. That is nothing. That is absolutely nothing. This is a guy who, it's like the famous Homer Simpson line. I guess some people never change or quickly change and then quickly change right back. How did the guy go from Trump's Hitler to he's the greatest president of my lifetime? I don't buy it.
Well, are you going to take any of his military record into account?
No, that's fine. God
that
bless.
Doesn't do anything for
God
you.
Bless people who I respected John McCain serving the country too. But John McCain was a greaseball as a politician. He was a dirtball. The Keating 5 stuff was horrific, and he probably should have gone to prison for it.
I mean, when you just look at his resume alone, it looks pretty good because he was a Marine. Ivy League educated.
Wait. He was a Marine, and he doesn't need to tell everybody about it every 10 seconds? What? I didn't know that was allowed. Certainly not in this state. The guy who's also a senator who's a Marine, that's all he's got. Every 10 seconds, I was a Marine.
He's got, he's a family man. He was not born into wealth, so he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Midwest guy. He's going to be working the Rust Belt states. It's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
How much of his relationship with Donald Trump's children do you think is playing into this?
100%. 100%. It's his relationship with the kids. That's why Trump endorsed him in the Senate race. It's why he's picking him as vice president. But how many times in the first term did Trump taking the word of his kids or taking the word of some third party and putting people in positions of importance end up biting him in the backside? I want to see growth from Donald Trump because 2020 was an abject failure, one of the greatest failures in American history. And the buck stopped with Donald Trump. He enabled and signed off on all of it, whether it's the masking, the Fauci, the vaccine, the printing of the money. We would be completely disingenuous to our audience if we acted like that didn't happen. And quite frankly, the failures of 2020 more than negated everything he did the first 3 years. And I've never heard I'm sorry. I've never heard what I'm going to do different. And right now, Donald Trump is picking the same sort of people, whether it's the establishment people to run the RNC, or whether it's somebody who said horrific, awful things, but then conveniently saw the light when it was opportunistic for them about him. Look, Trump's going to have to deal with it. But what I'm telling you right now, that if somebody keeps doing the same things they did before, you can likely expect the same results, which is people snitching on him, people disclosing information about him, people disclosing what's going on in meetings, people working behind the scenes against him, power struggles against Donald Trump.
I think one thing that Donald Trump has done differently, though, with this choice is that Mike Pence was just as establishment as can be. He was insider all the way. And you've mentioned it too. J.D. Vance has only been in the Senate for a year and a half, so he doesn't have that baggage that he's bringing with him.
You're right. But and we talked about this in the first hour. When you are an elected official, you have generally one shot to get it right. And hindsight does no one any good. And and it's very similar to the Braun conversation, where Braun told me when I was reeling off the laundry list of grievances at the state convention with him.
Yeah.
And finally, he just didn't have any defense for him, right? He knows. Like the COVID, Braun voting to print that money on COVID, and then the excuse being, well, everybody else did it. He knows it's ridiculous. Yeah. So finally he just goes, well, I've learned from my mistakes. That doesn't help my family. That doesn't make food more affordable. It doesn't lower my property tax. Casey, I found out my mortgage is going up $100 a month.
Yeah.
Because of, and the lady on the phone, I called and had a very nice conversation with the lady with my mortgage company, and she said, look, here's the two things that are in. And she was very specific. It's your property taxes are going up, and the cost of everything to insure your home is going up. And she was very clear, very specific. These are these two things, and it makes sure both. Well, the property tax thing is 100% the fault of the Republicans in this state. Joe Biden has nothing to do with property taxes in the state of Indiana. Now, he does, but so do the Republicans play a role in why the cost of everything went up. So nobody's looking out for me anymore, Casey. And this is why I'm so pissed off that they've got an OnlyFans star and the Teamsters guy getting primetime speaking slots.
Where have they been?
Right.
You're angry because they're joining the party now.
Right. Actually, and I'm not saying I should have a primetime speaking slot, but I'm saying people who have behaved in a similar fashion to me, who have actually, when it was hard, when everybody was disowning them or saying they wanted to kill grandma or whatever, those people who are actually fighting for what the Republican Party is supposed to be about are getting totally ignored in this convention. And we've got an OnlyFans star and the Teamsters guy who probably on the majority of stuff don't even align up with what the Republican Party is supposed to be. It just seems like it's no longer about the ideals the Republican Party was supposed to be all about. It's now all about Donald Trump.
Okay, well, we will have a chance to ask Mike Braun about J.D. Vance. He is supporting that decision. He said President Trump made an exceptional pick in J.D. Vance to be his running mate.
Are we going to waste our valuable time on J.D. Vance?
Well, I think, we should ask him about it because they did work together in the Senate. But the real thing that we should consider is if you were to speak at the RNC, would you take notes? Would you prep beforehand or would you just wing it?
No, I just get up there. Every speech I ever give, it's just let's
and
go.
It would be amazing.
It would be,
it?
but that's my point. There is no home for me. I just feel like I now describe myself as a Republican in good standing who is politically homeless.
Yeah.
Nobody speaks to me. Nobody speaks to my concerns. It's now about how many people can we get in there because we care about winning.
They want to win.
But not what winning gives us.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Getting to the bottom of it, I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Lawmakers are due to question leaders of the Secret Service over the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle appears for a hearing Monday before the House Oversight Committee. Cheadle says she will not resign. 2 virtual briefings today for 2 separate House committees, the Homeland Security Committee and the Oversight Committee. Lawmakers are mystified at the spectacular level of security failures.
Fox's Chad Pergram reporting. Tesla CEO and world's richest man Elon Musk is preparing to give about $45 million a month to a new super PAC supporting former President Trump. His plans to give to the PAC would be a shift in his plans to remain neutral in the presidential race. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Sinus pain. You know it all too well. It's constant. It's frustrating. The pressure, the headaches, the snoring, the constant clogged feeling. You're tired of feeling like this, but you've tried nasal sprays, over-the-counter medicines, even home remedies. No matter what you try, nothing gives you lasting sinus relief. You're tired of missing out and feeling miserable. There is something you can do. Something different. Indianapolis Sinus Center. The physicians at Indianapolis Sinus Center have been serving the community with proven treatments for over 50 years. They know what you're going through, and they're standing by ready to offer you the best treatments to provide long-term relief. Breathe better. You don't have to keep suffering from sinus pain. Call Indianapolis Sinus Center today at 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward relief. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or go to IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends and my family at Life Church. You know, it's Tuesday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for something different, it could be a new church home or even a first church home. And if that's you, check out my friends at Life Church. They're warm, they're welcoming. Many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church over the years, and it is not hard to see why. And one of the many great things about Life Church is they make it super simple for you. They've got campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, Pendleton, Oh, yeah, and if you want to just kind of see it for yourself without getting in the car, they've got incredible online services. Learn more about everything, lifechurchin.com.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars are Thursday, July 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Indianapolis Northeast in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register now at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer with expert installation and 24-hour monitoring. Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. And Universal Windows Direct has about 9 million reasons to love them, but here's just a couple. Right now, Universal Windows Direct is backing up their work with a true lifetime warranty. That's for as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Oh, not good enough? Well, get this. Call today, 317-659-7574. Universal Windows Direct, 317-659-7574. And for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There's no limit. Oh, still not good enough? Try this. 0% financing for 36 months. Oh, you still need more? When you call today at 317-659-7574 and you tell them Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call, Universal Windows Direct is going to take $250 off your project. Now, some restrictions apply on what I just told you, so get all the information today. Call Universal Windows Direct right now, 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, uwd.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Discover Masterpiece Quilts at the International Quilters Hall of Fame celebration in Marion, Indiana, July 21st through 23rd. This amazing celebration features world-class exhibits, great workshops and lectures, and the induction of the 2024 honoree. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic. Cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars are Thursday, July 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Indianapolis Northeast in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register now at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indie Decorative Concrete patio. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Zero Res, 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129 plus a 4th room free and $75 off duct cleaning. 388-5141, online at zeroresindy.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, he had been asking for it for months and months and was denied, but now there's been a reverse. The White House has announced that RFK Jr. is now going to get Secret Service protection.
We ask this question all the time on this show, and the fact that this is going on, it just kind of reinforces it. Where does all our money go? Like seriously, where have you ever stopped and said, whether it's local, state, but most importantly, the federal government, the colossal amount of money that you pay in taxes, that our society pays in taxes, and then on top of that, they print $1 trillion or more on top of that every single year. Where does it all go?
Ukraine?
Right, because it is outlandish. Thank you. It is outlandish to think that apparently we have enough money to give to some government who doesn't even like us, but we don't have enough money to properly secure the Republican nominee for president or this guy, Kennedy, whose family certainly has a history of being assassinated.
Yeah. So the announcement came just a couple hours after Trump demanded protection. So this is like the tail wagging the dog at this point.
What do we spend the money on? Like, you know me, I'm the last person that is in for any sort of frivolous expenses, but clearly there's not enough, or at least the security around him was not efficient enough to protect Donald Trump. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a legitimate candidate for president, like this is not,
it's not fringe
Chase Oliver guy for the Libertarians who's going to get less than 1%, or Jill Stein, or any of these other wacky people. He's a guy that's going to get between probably 10 and 15% of the popular vote. And his family has a track record, Casey, of being assassinated, including his father.
Yeah.
Why would, what planet are we living on, and where is all the money going that there was no money to protect this guy?
Here's Alejandro Mayorkas.
In light of this weekend's events, the president has directed me to work with the Secret Service to provide protection to Robert Kennedy Jr.
Okay, so he said, thank you to President Biden for granting me Secret Service protection. And he thanked his private security firm for keeping him safe for the last 15 months of his presidential campaign.
Well, yeah, and, don't cry for me, Argentina, right? I mean, the guy is very wealthy himself, and obviously his campaign is raising millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, that Google executive or former Google executive or whatever she was I don't even know what her name is. That's how bad that vice presidential pick was. I'm really into this, and I don't even remember the woman's name.
Mm-hmm.
Surely she could raise enough to secure the guy, but it's like, come on. I mean, the dude is a legitimate candidate for president. He's going to garner, probably well more than 10 million votes nationwide, and will likely be where the people who vote for him come from, the decider in many of these swing states on who the next president is. He's going to be campaigning there. He is probably seen as a legitimate threat to the presidency by both sides in some capacity. Why you would not have protection for that guy was just simply beyond me.
I think there was a real change in the Secret Service, by the way, when it went from the Treasury Department under Department of Homeland Security back in about 2003. Isn't that interesting? The people that are now protecting the president are taking orders from Alejandro Mayorkas, the guy who's also in charge of the border. And there's been a lot of questions about his ability.
It's weird how you remember things in your life. And I can remember the speech George W. Bush gave post 9/11. I remember exactly where I was, too, and listening to it on the radio, where he said he was going to create the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, I remember that, too.
And it's so weird that I would remember that, but I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing. And I remember being 17 years old at the time, and it's amazing how I thought about the government basically the same way my entire life, even as a little kid. And I remember thinking, what good is more government going to do when it comes to keeping us safe? And I think Tom Ridge, the former governor of Pennsylvania, the original guy. And that's come exactly true. Like, what good has all this government done in terms of keeping us safe? And you're right, Casey. Like, the Secret Service has become and I'm not talking about many of the people who work there, but the agency itself, largely a train wreck, and as is almost everything that's been put under the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, you can definitely see there's an arc there. You can see how it's changed a little bit. So that was yesterday when they decided to give protection to Robert Kennedy Jr. And then today, it has been released that Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy Jr., they talked about the assassination attempt. And while they were on the phone, there was a videographer who was recording Robert Kennedy Jr.'s conversation with Donald Trump. And it has now been released. And RFKJ, he has apologized about the footage being released. He said that he should have asked the videographer to stop recording immediately. He said that he's mortified that it was posted. And he apologized to the president.
Yeah, right. So
how did it accidentally get posted?
Right. Again, all these people are just politicians. They lie. Like, somebody's filming you in the room, and you don't think to go, well, if I don't ask this person to turn it off, it's probably going to end up out somewhere. Or if you noticed immediately you were being filmed, as soon as that was done, say, give me that film.
Right.
I want to make sure that never
I
gets out.
want to delete it. No,
Right.
what did the
Bull.
whoever posted it, what did they? Whoops, I fell on my phone and my finger accidentally hit the post
Bull.
button.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second.
Okay, speaking of Twitter and social media, X was at an all-time high on Saturday. 417 billion users globally.
Well, there's not that many people on the planet. You mean like tweets?
Users per second globally is what they're calling it. It was 23% higher.
Yeah, but there's not 417 billion people on the planet. There can't be. I'm sure it's like impressions or whatever they go by.
Users per second.
Casey, you can if there are
what they're
if there are
saying.
8 billion people on the planet,
Posts?
you cannot make 417 billion people using. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Posts per second.
Yeah, or impressions or whatever. Yes, that's. It couldn't even be posts. There's not 417 billion people on the planet. I get what you're saying though. There were a lot of people on Twitter. Let's just go with that. There were a lot of people on Twitter over the weekend, and I think a big reason, and I saw people post about this, way more than I think there would have been under the old regime, because I think people feel free to be able to express themselves, even if they're horribly wrong. They feel like they can go on that platform and use that platform, and their speech will be protected.
And you're talking about since the new ownership of Elon Musk.
Yes.
Who has now said that he's forming this super PAC, and he's going to give $45 million a month
Yes.
to Donald Trump campaign.
My question to Elon Musk would be, why, if you believe in Trump, why did you wait so long? Like, it sort of feels like a marketing. It feels like a publicity stunt, doesn't it? I mean, really, like, so you were on the fence and then somebody shot at the guy, so now you're like, oh yeah, I'm all into the tune of, it's not $50. You're at $45 million a month. Like, that's a heck of a PBS pledge, right?
And it came after the assassination attempt.
Can we talk about traffic in this city, Casey? Can we talk about the traffic when we come back?
You had a bad trip in this morning?
Everyone's having a bad trip. The road, it sucks. It sucks.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the pick of J.D. Vance and what it means for November. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut to size, because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better when cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Casey.
Rob.
I've been waiting all show to do this.
Okay.
Can we talk about how ridiculous, I mean, just absolutely re-damn-diculous traffic is in and around the greater downtown area of Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's kind of bad, huh?
Well, look, as someone who has been an elected official, someone who understands the need to repair our roads, you're not going to hear me complain about people trying to upgrade infrastructure. However, when you make it almost impossible for someone to navigate through the construction, like okay, this is closed or this is delayed. You can go here and everything will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening.
No, it's not.
Because the detour has a detour.
Yeah, okay, so a couple things on this. You're talking about the 465 closure?
Well, no, I'm talking about 70.
Oh, okay.
So the last couple days, 70's been backed up. That's fine. I get it. You got to do what you got to do. No problem here. Get it done as fast as you can. So I have been attempting to detour before the mass slowdown of 70 in order to take another route to try to make life less congestion-oriented for my fellow passengers, maybe make it a few minutes faster for me. And I get off 70, and Washington Street is still closed. So now I'm having to take a detour of my detour, and it has now turned what is a 30-minute drive. Now it took me almost an hour to get to work today.
Well, luckily for you, you know the city, you know the streets. You probably don't have to have Google Maps out.
No, but
it
takes forever to get around the city, and that is ridiculous. And I've seen so many people post about this that, again, everybody's got to do construction. I get it. It's a nuisance, but it's a necessary evil. But when you keep just blocking people off one detour after another, that is just horrific, horrible planning.
Yeah, so you were a little late getting in today, and you weren't the only one because I shared the elevator with JMV, and he was a little late today, too. He was talking about how he was, same thing, the traffic, the construction slowed him down. And I had an incident on my way into work this morning as well. Somebody nearly hit me downtown.
Oh, no.
And
like in your motorcade?
In my car,
Yeah.
yes. And it was one of those things where they were coming over into my lane no matter what, and I felt like they didn't know the area.
Right.
Because they were looking at their phone.
Oh, yeah.
So another example of what this construction is doing, you know, when that happens, your adrenaline gets going.
Sure.
And it takes a minute to calm back down.
Right.
So I don't think you're the only one who's experiencing this right now.
And so I don't know if people just aren't communicating with each other, because it seems pretty obvious to me, hey, if you're going to shut 70 down at a certain point or to the point where it's experiencing mass delays, then you've got to have somewhere for people to go. And I know enough about the city to know where to go. But clearly the state not communicating with the locals, because now there's nowhere for you to go, which is then just enticing someone like me to continue to be a part of the backup and the mass delay that is taking place on 70, because there's no incentive to get off early. So I mean,
it's frustrating.
I guess I'll go Crawfordsville Road tomorrow. That'll take 45 minutes to get here, which sucks, but that's better than an hour. It's horrible planning. This is why people hate the government. This is in the realm of people's control, which is, hey, we're going to do this big thing. That means we got to have somewhere for people to go. And it's clear either people are not communicating or they just simply don't care. Either way, it's mass. It's another strike against the government in all shape, forms, and fashions.
No, I know it's a really frustrating and irritating way to start your day.
Yes.
Because you're not getting off on the right foot. But here's what I would invite you to do.
Oh, thank you.
Always trying to look at the sunny side, Rob.
Absolutely.
Use this as an opportunity to gain a new perspective.
On what?
On
how incompetent the government is?
On your way
how little
into
they care
work.
about me?
You know, they say stand on your desk and look at your office differently. You'll have a different view. Just like you, taking different roads, a different way to get into work will change the scenery and perhaps give you a different perspective on things.
Well, and I'm blessed since we have one of the nation's highest gas taxes. The entire time it took me the extra 15 minutes to get to work, I could think of all the money that was going out of my pocket as the gasoline was being burned. I look at this and it's like, who is in charge of these things? It's not that it's not that each individual thing may not need to be done. But there's just clearly, and we've seen the disaster on, it used to be you could go, I mean, it's been almost impossible because of the shutdowns on Illinois to go the way I normally go to begin with, which is fine. I went an alternate. So now let's see. That's one alternate route, another alternate route. I'm now on my third alternate route, Casey, just to try to get to this building downtown.
Do you just want to move in with me and have a 5-minute drive into work?
Well, you have, since you have 9 floors on your palatial skyrise. So for those of you who don't know, Casey's house, it has no yard, but it goes straight up in the air. It is rivaling.
It's a lot of stairs. You can get good exercise.
It's not the Chase
it Chase? Is it, when I was a kid, it was the Bank One building, which was the biggest building. Is it is it still Chase or Salesforce? Salesforce now, is that the sponsor on the big building?
Yeah.
It really rivals that building in terms of
Sure it does.
the skyline.
Yeah.
They're picking out that building.
You could
in
have your
Casey's
own
house.
floor.
Absolutely.
And then just a quick on drive into work.
How's your daughter's cat doing, by the way?
Oh, she's doing wonderful.
Well, is your daughter? I should have asked. How's your daughter doing with her cat? Have you had to take over?
No, I haven't. Although we did help her make a vet appointment.
What do they call it? Like a conveyor ship when you have to make all the decisions? Conservatorship. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
No, that hasn't happened. No, she's doing a great job. Very much acting like an adult. And,
how exciting.
And feeding the cat and making sure she has all the supplies.
That's great.
She really is a cute little kitten.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me vent on that.
That's why you think about living to me and you go straight with, I don't know, you got a cat there.
Well,
right
it's
now.
just like, I mean, cats are demons. So I just would be very apprehensive about being anywhere near a demon 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Trust me, you live in my house. The cat's the least of your worries.
Well, now, as we learned yesterday, we got to worry about your husband's crop dusting.
That too. There's all sorts of nonsense going on there. And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for listening. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first. And then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
First Financial Bank. Get 4.6% APY on money market accounts and high rates on CDs. Stop into your local First Financial Bank to start growing your money today.